Please subscribe to the channel.
Your starting moveset can change depending on which of the three options you pick when you first make your character. Those three options are: I like it up close, nice and personal, I'll hang back and blast them from afar, and close or far, I keep it balanced. If you click the first option, I like it up close, nice and personal, your starting moveset will be Meteor Crash, Meteor Blow, Super Guard, the full power energy blast volley, and super front jump. If you select I'll hang back and blast them from afar, your starting moveset will be the consecutive energy blast, energy shot, energy charge, as well as the full power energy blast volley and the super back jump. And if you select close or far, I keep it balanced, your starting moveset will be Meteor Crash, the consecutive energy blast super attack, after image, as well as full power energy volley, and your evasive will be instant rise. Side note, if you right off the bat, you can make one character with all three of these options, then delete the other two characters and you'll keep the skill. So you can mix and match right off the bat. Some of these skills are incredibly useful and flat out good. For example, Instant Rise is widely considered one of, if not the best evasive skill in the game because it does its job. The consecutive energy blast super attack is an incredibly underrated key-based super attack, and energy charge, despite it being the worst charge attack in the game, starting off from the very beginning, it can be incredibly, I can't stress this enough, it can be incredibly useful. Goten, of all characters, has several voice lines, a lot of voice lines, which suggests that he at some point was going to get a bit of an upgrade with lots of new skills. There's a good chance that he would have got most, if not all of these skills, if Goten was one of the 5 characters that received the most votes during the hero vote for new partner customization keys for the then upcoming Canton City Vault DLC pack for Xenoverse 2. These skills include the Spirit Bomb super attack, Kamehameha boost, scissors, rock, paper, the Power Pole super, not Power Pole Pro, or the Power Pole combo, Justice Pose for some reason, Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times 20, Solar Flare, Dancing Para, and Miracle Knee. Take a listen to these unused Goten voice lines.
Wow! Ha-ha! Kamehame! Ha! 1, 2, rock! Scissors! Paper! Power pole! Extend! Power pole! I am an ally of justice! I laugh at evil! I'm Great Saiyaman! Gohan, I did it too! Kaioken! I'm really tired. I won't give up! Solar Flare! It's bright! Here I go! Okay! Right and right, left and left, spin and turn and a great big smile! I love that! Phew! That was close! Wah! Sorry! Kamehame! Ha! Janken! Goo! Chuck! Pa! Nyoiba! Nobira! Nyoiba! 僕は悪は絶対許せない。正義の味方。グレートサイヤマンだ。兄ちゃん、僕もできた。海洋拳。すっごい疲れる。我慢我慢。太陽拳。眩しい。いくわよ。はい。ライトライト。レフトレフト。くるっとターンで。にっこりスマイル。楽しいねこれ。ふう。危なかった。
Yamcha is an interesting character in terms of unused voice lines. Those voice lines being the Spirit Bomb super attack, Kamehameha boost, Power Pole. Once again, this is just Power Pole, not the Power Pole Pro Awoken or the Power Pole combo. Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times 20, and do keep in mind, like Krillin, Yamcha had a preset in the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game where he could use Kaioken but removed in Xenoverse 2 for whatever reason, I don't know. Also, apart from that, he has voice lines for the Turtle Style Last Resort, Lullaby Punch, Cross Arm Dive, the Scatter Kamehameha Ultimate, and something here which is labelled as RWKV, which apparently, well, the voice line, as you'll hear soon, is Wolf Fang Fist, but apparently if it's a dual ultimate attack, it's labelled at the very end of the attack with a V. So there's a good chance that this, at some point, Yamcha was going to have, and technically our custom characters could technically use it, a sort of dual Wolf Fang Fist dual ultimate. With that said, take a listen to all of those that I've just mentioned.
It's ready! Hit him! Kamehame! Ha! Extend! Purple! Kaioken! Ha! Is this gonna work? Yeah! Here we go! Da! Huh. The biggest show in the universe! Hush, little baby! Don't say a word! Take this! Cross-arm dive! You gotta be kidding! Ha! Go! Here I go! Double Wolf Fang Fist! Sit!
できた当たれカメハメはー伸びろ如意棒海洋拳はーいけるかおりゃごめんだぜだーふん万国びっくりしょねんねんコロリよ受けてみな天空ペケ事件冗談じゃないぜはっ行け行くぜダブルローガ夫婦剣せい
There's also another character in Conton City by the name of Amy right next to the accessory shop. Now, Amy was the apparent winner of a contest or a sort of like vote that Bandai Namco held just before Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was released back in 2016. This was a bit of a website thing where you could go and create your own time patroller, and the time patroller with the most votes would later be added into Xenoverse 2, and if memory serves correctly, this was added in, I believe, the 4th update, the DB Super Pack 4. If you talk to Amy, you can get her battle suit for your character straight away, right off the bat. But what's interesting about this is that Amy wasn't the actual true winner. There was at least 2 characters that had more votes than Amy. Those characters were a Margin that resembled and was named Mickey Mouse, and another Margin that was named and resembled Pikachu. It's naturally obvious as to why these weren't added into the game. But it's just interesting to note that Amy isn't the actual true winner of that specific contest. There are a lot of unused voice lines in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. One of them, which is a character that for some reason is quite surprising, at least for me, that has a lot of unused voice lines in Xenoverse 2 is, of all characters, Demigra, the main bad guy, or rather the final bad guy from the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game in Xenoverse 2. These voice lines are used, or rather were intended to be used specifically in parallel quests. With that said, take a listen to them.
Only a fool would defy a god. Do you want retribution that much? I will become history's new ruler. I will show you the power of the demon. You think a mere human can defeat a god? You monkey. I'll make you kneel before me. You want to go extinct that much, Namekian? Fool. Insolent fool. Worship me and despair, else you shall die! You've done it now. Insolent fool, you dare defy a god? I will make you regret it! Impossible! How can I lose to that? But how? This cannot happen! I must regroup. Did you think you could escape? Farewell. Damn you! You know what will happen next! What a pathetic display. Let me show you how it's done. Obey me, and victory will be yours. You're already in pieces? Shameful. You're too fragile. I never gave you permission to stop. Now stand up. Is it that time already? I think it's time you wrapped this up. That's right. Right indeed. How could I lose? I am Demigras! Unbelievable! You shall sink into the darkness of history. The time for groveling has passed.
There's also a secret ending in Xenoverse 1 if you can defeat Final Form Demon God Demigras quick enough. Take a look.
Don't give up! I know you're stronger. I can feel it. You're hopeless. Utterly hopeless. It's only a little more. Just a little more. You can't lose. Don't be a fool.
Just making it this far is amazing on its own.
Please subscribe to the channel.
You can get a guaranteed Dragon Ball to drop if you make a new character and talk to this character in Conton City right here. The reward from defeating this character is, I believe it's the 4-star Dragon Ball, but if there's a Dragon Ball that you don't have, for example, if you've got all of them apart from, again, for example, the 2nd-star Dragon Ball, the 2-star Dragon Ball, what have you, by defeating this character, you'll get that Dragon Ball or any other Dragon Ball that you don't have. You can do this as much as you want until you've got a completed set, then you won't get any more until you then use the Dragon Balls on Shenron. And again, this is a guaranteed drop from defeating this character. The only, I guess, downside towards this is that this can only be done once ever per character. So if you've got one slot free and you need to get Dragon Balls, just go and make a new character, defeat Raditz, then talk to this character. Again, that's by the school in Conton City or the Time Patrol Academy, whatever it's called. Defeat her and you'll then get one Dragon Ball that you don't currently have. Final Form Demigras also has a lot of unused voice lines which were specifically meant to be used in parallel quests. Take a listen.
Your history ends here. I shall grant you a miserable death. Feel the wrath of a demon god. Anyone who interferes with my ambitions will be crushed on the shores of time. No one who sees this form will ever escape alive. You Neanderthal, don't get too cocky. I never thought I would show my true form to the likes of you. Your death will not be painless. You will suffer for all eternity. Despair, lowly creature, for you have touched upon the wrath of your worst nightmare. Your resistance is futile. You think you've won? Think again! Damn you! Damn you! Damn you! Damn you! How could this be? Change locations. Run. I'll find you. So you finally died. What is this? This power! I will not accept it! I'll erase you right away. Try your best not to get swallowed up in fear. So you're dying already? I have no use for weaklings. Who told you you could fall? Stand up! You're pointlessly wasting time. Hurry up and end it! So, you've defeated the small fry first. Sacrilege! I am a god! My magic is vanishing! It cannot be! Tremble with fear! I can't wait to see how you suffer.
Something that a lot of people seem to have just completely missed is that once you defeat Final Form Mira in the main story mode for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, it doesn't matter which ending you get, but once you defeat Final Form Mira and then the animated outro plays, Goku and Whis are in Canton City, as you can see right here, and behind Goku there is a structure which the base or like the what pillar of it or what have you heavily resembles that of Korin's Terror from Dragon Ball. It's what Goku in the original Dragon Ball series climbed up on to get stronger to fight, I believe it was to fight Tail Pai Pai. This is nowhere to be seen in Canton City, and this wasn't even in the first beta test and then removed later on. This isn't anywhere in Canton City, as of right now at least, in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, meaning that, well, it's been removed. Now, there's quite a few changes or things that just aren't there in this animated outro. For example, when Goku and Whis are talking here, you can see this building which has like the 3 segmented rooms in there, and the building is white, at least the top of it is, but in Canton City it's white, yellow, and I believe blue, or it's a dark blue. But yeah, so it's roughly around here, I think, around give or take this area in Canton City right here, where this Korin-like structure would be. I do wonder what this would be used for. I kind of have a feeling it would be to unlock some sort of limit-breaking thing. As in, maybe this could have been where Elder Kai would have gone to, or been to train you with the challenge quests or the robot for the advancement tests. Unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to get an answer for this, because this was something that, at least in some point during the early planning of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, this was planned to be in Canton City, but naturally as the game and the development went on, for some reason that we probably will never get an answer to, for some reason, it was removed. Super Buu has several skills that other versions of Majin Buu can use, but for some reason, Super Buu cannot use these, but the voices are ready to go in the game's files for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Super Buu was a vaultable option in the Hero Vault from the Canton City DLC for future partner customization keys, so there's a very good chance he would have got most of these skills if he actually won as a future partner customization, custom preset, whatever you want to call it, given that all but one of these skills are Majin Buu skills, those being Innocence Cannon, Explosive Boo Boo Punch, Quick Sleep, Pearl Flash, the Teleporting Vanishing Ball Ultima, the Candy Beam Evasive, specifically the Evasive, and Victory Cannon, which Victory Cannon is a Gotenks Evasive. Take a listen to the unused voice lines for Super Buu.
You are in the way! Turn into candy, moron!
お前邪魔だおへへへうほうほはっやっはーえはーふっや
ディになれ。バカ。
There's two different versions of the Darkness Rush Ultimate Attack in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. The melee version, which only Saiyans, Earthlings, the Martian race, as well as the Freeze race can use, and the ranged version, which is only usable by Namekian Kak's custom characters, avatars, again, whatever you want to call it. But funnily enough, if you use the dual Darkness Rush on a Namekian custom character, they use the melee version, not the range version, even though, as of right now, Namekians cannot use or even equip the melee version of Darkness Rush, only the ranged version. And side note, or a bit of an extra fact here, even though Martians have stretchy arms like Namekians, they can also only use the melee version of Darkness Rush, not the ranged version. Despite being able to use it back in Xenoverse 1, Krillin can't use Kaioken in Xenoverse 2. Any version, Kaioken times 3 or times 20. But again, in Xenoverse 1 he could. It was removed from Xenoverse 1 to Xenoverse 2. And with that said, there's actually a few skills that he has the voice lines for that he can't use. Those being the Power Pole Super Attack, as I've just mentioned, Kaioken, Kaioken times 3, and Kaioken times 20. The Turtle Style Last Resort Super Attack, Lullaby Punch, Cross Arm Dive, and Super Kamehameha. With that said, off the top of my head, I want to say he can use Super Kamehameha, but it's a different voice line. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, this is a separate voice line of Krillin using all of these attacks, including what I've just mentioned, the Super Kamehameha Ultimate.
Power Pole! Extend! Power Pole! Kaioken! Ha! I gotta do this! Ah! Don't give out on me! Ah! It's the biggest show in the universe! Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Block this one! Cross-arm dive! Ha! Ka! Me! Ha! Me! Ha!
如意棒伸びろ如意棒海王剣はあやるしかないおーりゃ耐えてくれだ韓国びっくりしょ年々コロリよ受けてみよ天空ペケ事件はあかめはめはあ
On the PS4 version of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, there is an option to select Old Canton City and New Canton City on the title menu. This doesn't do anything. The only reason this was added was because on the PS4 version of Xenoverse 2, apparently they were running out of space or memory to save specific online things such as your world tournament records, your TP rank, nicknames and titles that you could get from event rewards, favorites that you've made in terms of time patrols that you've favorited, gift information and stuff like that. You can still log into Old Canton City, but no new events have been on there or will be on there. For example, raids, world tournaments, the Frieza Invasion event, as well as the Canton City TV. All of those are in the new Canton City server. Patrick Sates, the English voice actor for Dio in the English dub of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as well as Jiren in the English dub of Dragon Ball Super, is also a voice you can pick for your custom character in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. A bit of a bonus fact here, before Patrick Sates was cast as the English voice actor for Jiren, there was actually a different voice actor who I believe was only cast as Jiren just for the English dub of Xenoverse 2. But with that said, do take a listen to some of his lines if you do decide to pick this for the voice of your custom character.
Whoops!
All 5 of the current avatar or CAC or custom character, we even call it, all 5 of the current CAC avatar, again, whatever, races in the game right now, all have different passive abilities. For male Martians, they do take less damage the more stamina they have, and vice versa. Female Margins have incredibly fast stamina recovery. Saints get an attack increase, a Zenkai boost when they have flashing red health. Earthlings have auto ki recovery and they get an attack increase when they have max ki. Namekians have health regen whenever they have flashing red health, and the Freezer race has the fastest speed out of anyone in the game. Again, there are a few more to this, so it's not limited to just those things I've just mentioned, but I think that's a good starting point, at least for what this video is, I guess. If you use the Photon Swipe super attack against the Gigantic Ki Blast in a raid, it will automatically send the Gigantic Ki Blast back. I would assume that this is a glitch, so this may change at some point in the future, but as of right now, with one Photon Swipe, and I think it may also work with other skills such as the Darkness Eye Beam, but I'm not entirely sure about that specifically. But again, using the Photon Swipe super attack against the Gigantic Ki Blast when the beam struggle or the struggle, we have to try and send it back to the raid boss. Now, it happens in the online raids. It will, with just using it once, which takes 1 bar of ki to use, again, it will instantly send that Gigantic Ki Blast back, and you'll get a lot of points and more than likely end up in first place. You can no longer leave or kick someone from your lobby if it's a ranked lobby or a world tournament lobby. This was done to try and stop people from boosting the leaderboards, which it worked up until a certain point, but it is something that you still technically could do. If anything, it may just take a couple of extra minutes longer to do. Long story short, boosting in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is that you'll make a room and you'll battle someone, presumably yourself, on a different console to get the points to then boost up on the world leaderboards. Again, it's not really been fixed. It kind of has, but not really. And you just can't kick people once 2 people join, again, either a ranked room or a world tournament lobby. There used to be a completely harmless glitch in Conton City where if you went to around this area in the overworld, you could actually fly through the mountain and go inside of Conton City. If I remember, at least, this was removed, or rather they fixed it in Legendary Pack 1, the Legendary Pack 1 free update. But it was just cool to see, I believe, Goku and Oob and Supreme Kai of Time herself, as well as just some random time patrollers, were all over the place here, and some of them didn't even have dialogue if you spoke to them. I understand why it was removed, but this, you couldn't exploit this. There's nothing to gain really from doing this other than just to see Conton City from the inside out, and again, unfortunately, it was removed. Villainous mode characters have no super souls, therefore they can't limit burst. Although I don't believe it's ever been explained why they don't have any super souls, it's more than likely for a balancing reason, because these tend to be much stronger characters than a normal character, and they have a ki charge which also recovers stamina and ki at the same time. Keep in mind, it does have a priority on ki, so when you have max ki, it will stop charging even if you don't have max stamina. Again, it's never explained. That's more than likely the reason why, but in terms of the lore, I guess it could be assumed that it's because they sold their souls, maybe, to get an increased power up, maybe sell your soul, super soul. Let's move on. The music that plays in Conton City will have less instruments playing depending on how far away you go from the city. Once again, take a listen. Modders on the PC version of Xenoverse 2 have been able to, I guess, data mine or what have you, a file in the game which has deflection physics for at least ki-based ultimate attacks, and presumably as well, ki-based super attacks, as you can see right here. It's assumed that these weren't implemented into the game because of how broken it may make things, or just through balancing issues. Apparently, and I may be wrong here, but apparently if you were to do this, it would take away stamina, or rather it would require stamina to deflect. This is absolutely fantastic. This is something that I didn't know at all going into this video, and yeah, this is insane. Wow. Did you know that if you use the instant transmission super attack locked off, it will automatically lock on to your opponent? Now, of course, for this to actually work, you do actually need to be in range of it, so you can't just use it if you are, for example, on the Glacier stage or the Archipelago stage and you like the furthest away possible. You have to be able to be in range to lock on normally. Now, there may be actually a bit of a deeper meaning as to why this works like this, and a more lore accurate to some extent, reason. That being that it's stated in the series that instant transmission can only be used to lock on to someone's, I guess, like key signature, meaning you need to be able to sense them. So, for example, Goku can't use instant transmission to go anywhere he wants. He can if he can actually sense the person's ki. For example, when Goku's on Earth, he can use it to go to King Kai's planet because he's been there before. He knows King Kai's ki, his ki signature, his energy, whatever you want to call it. Now, do keep in mind, this is just for instant transmission. It's not for the Kai instantaneous movement skill. I believe that's called Kai, which is also in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. But yeah, it's just, again, something that you may not think of, that why would you use instant transmission locked off in Xenoverse 2 anyway, or what have you? Like, there's no reason to do it. So when I found this out a few days ago, I thought, you know what, that's actually quite nice, and there's most likely a slightly deeper meaning to it. Despite quite literally inventing the attack, there is no version or preset of Piccolo as of right now in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 that can use any version of Masenko. Now, yes, he can use reverse Mebiku Senko, but that's just an attack that sounds similar. Masenko and the reverse Mebiku Senko, completely different skills, they just vaguely sound similar. One of them is a beam sort of attack, and the other one is a counter. Now again, I know there's going to be people in the comments that I'm going to be like, oh well, actually, Gohan invented this in episode 200 and... Yeah, okay, no one cares. But no, Gohan only popularized it. This is an attack that I believe it was Piccolo, like as a kid, he used it in the world. I have to rewatch it, but no, Piccolo, this is a specifically Piccolo invented skill. It's like how, for example, Goku popularized certain skills, such as the Kamehameha, despite that being invented by Master Roshi, and the Spirit Bomb and Kaioken, despite those being skills created and invented by King Kai. Just funny how, quite arguably, the three most iconic and popular skills of Goku, not including Super Saiyan, because Kaioken's a technique, Super Saiyan's a transformation, Kamehameha, Kaioken, and Spirit Bomb, the three most iconic Goku skills, all completely stolen. The order of post-release awoken skills in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 doesn't really make sense. So Xenoverse 2 came out, then about give or take a year and a half later, we had the first new awoken skill, that being Super Saiyan Blue. Okay, fair enough. It's Super Saiyan Blue. It's basically what Super Saiyan is now, right? Makes sense. It's like the go-to Super Saiyan form. Cool, toasty, rather nice. Then the next awoken skill was Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Okay, so far, so good. It's also the best awoken skill as of right now in Xenoverse 2, and I won't be disproved on that. So Super Saiyan Blue, then Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Okay, fair enough. It makes sense. It makes complete sense. Then they added Super Saiyan God, the red version, you know, the version before Super Saiyan Blue, as in, oh, it's Super Saiyan God. To become Super Saiyan Blue, you need to use Super Saiyan God infused with the power of Super Saiyan. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Then you jump forward, the next awoken skill was the Beast awoken skill that Gohan uses against Cell Max towards the end of the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. Okay, bit weird, but hey, awesome. Then the latest one, as of this recording and upload at least, is Ultra Instinct. So you go forward, then back, then forward, then back. Let's go back even more now, after Ultra Instinct. Can we please get Super Saiyan 4? Please? Like yesterday? Please? Did you know that Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 may have been leaked years before the eventual reveal? It's been found out that Bandai have registered several websites on the exact same day back in 2014. These websites being DragonBallXenoverse.com, Xenoverse2.com, DragonBallXenoverse2.com, then DragonBallXenoverse3.com, and Xenoverse3.com. The two latter, currently, as of right now, have the information redacted, but we know it's Bandai who's registered them because all 5 of those websites were registered on the exact same day back in 2014. Now, Xenoverse4 or 5.com, as far as I'm aware, they've not been registered. It's not a surprise that at some point Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 will happen. Again, when? No idea as of this recording. But Xenoverse.com was registered in, I think, the early 2000s or the late 90s by someone. It's a completely separate thing. That's why Bandai haven't registered them. But given that the information on Xenoverse3.com and Dragon Ball Xenoverse3.com are redacted, and given that those registered on literally the exact same day back in 2014, kind of hints towards that at some point, again, rather unsurprisingly enough, we most likely will get a third Xenoverse game, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. Only a few days after the news of Mr. Toriyama was revealed, he was celebrated in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. The Xenoverse 2 community came together to organize a bit of a fan event, whatever you want to call it, where people would dress up their Xenoverse 2 characters as something that Goku wore, like Goku's gi, his Yardra outfit, or have you, and then go to all of the Gohan green tracksuit, because that's what Mr. Toriyama wore, and then go to the Dragon Ball pedestal in Kanton City, and then to use the Gather Energy, the Spirit Bomb emote. It was magic, it really was, and it's a really nice way to celebrate Mr. Toriyama. Hopefully this is a yearly thing. I don't know how many people came out for this, but I would assume across all the consoles, it's absolutely in the thousands of players. I would probably take a guess that at least a couple of tens of thousands of players either, reinstalled the game, got it for the first time, or have you, or just played it to do this mini event. It was honestly a very sad time, naturally, but it was this just goes to show that the Xenoverse community come together to celebrate him. This is what this community is about. Pan from Dragon Ball GT has several voice lines which she can't use the attacks which the voice lines are associated with. These being, before I play them, Scissors, Rock, Paper, the Power Pole, Super Attack, Masenko, Volleyball Fist, Hawk Charge, Dynamite Kick, and the Rolling Hercule Punch, despite the latter, the last one, being available for her to use in Xenoverse 1, but another skill that was removed from a character from Xenoverse 1, going on to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2.
1, 2, rock, scissors, paper, power pole, extend, power pole, huh, Masenko, here I go, toss, attack, it goes like this, here I go, Dynamite Kick! Mega Ultra Super Dynamite Kick! Yeah. Rolling Hercule Punch! Janken! Goo! Jaki! Pow! Nyoibo! Nobiro! Nyoibo! Huh? Masenko! Iku yo! Toss! Attack! 確かこんな感じ! Iku yo! Dynamite Kick! 超ウルトラスーパーダイナマイトキック! Rolling Saturn Punch!
There was a glitch, or rather, maybe more accurately, an oversight back in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1, the original Xenoverse game, where if you were in an Awoken, or rather a transformation, as Awokens weren't a thing then, Super Saiyan, Potential Unleash were ultimate, and Kaioken was a super attack. But if you were in, let's say for example, Super Saiyan 2, as you can see right here, and then you finished the mission, and then there was a cutscene with your custom character, your character would stay in that transformation throughout the entirety of the cutscene, as you can see right here. I defeat Final Form Mira, the credit roll, and then I'm still in the Awoken skill, or rather the transformation, as I train, or as your character goes to train those 4 new recruits for the Time Patrol at the very end of the main story mode for the original Xenoverse game, after you defeat Final Form Demigra. I was going to say Mirror, no, Final Form Demigra in his beast form, beast-like form rather, not Gohan Beast, what have you. So again, the reason this is probably removed from Xenoverse 1 to Xenoverse 2 was because probably 2 reasons. Firstly, it was probably a bug or some sort of oversight or what have you in Xenoverse 1, so naturally it's going to be fixed for the sequel. Or if it was deliberately meant in Xenoverse 1, it was probably removed in Xenoverse 2 because you can't really do this with Awoken such as the giant Namekian Awoken. It just quite literally would not work. Doldon Ray is a ki-based super attack which takes no ki to actually use, and if you're playing with limitations off and you have the Doldon Ray Super Soul, you'll recover about 1 bar of ki each time you go for a Doldon Ray, regardless whether or not the Doldon Ray is successful, or if it's blocked, or if it misses, or what have you. This makes for a very nice alternative to using, you know, for example, a charge skill, for example, energy charge, full power charge, maximum burst, ultimate charge, etc. Do keep in mind that it is pretty spammy. However, in the free update which accompanied Legendary Pack 1 for Xenoverse 2, a new character was added to Conton City named Stylist, or rather the Stylist. Now this is when you go to change like your hair and stuff like that for I believe 10 TP medals. Now keep in mind, apparently in Xenoverse 1 in the files there is something called Barber, like a barber to presumably change your hair instead of having to get the Dragon Balls then summon Shenron each and every single time. But this naturally in Xenoverse 1 was never added, but something very similar, again known as the Stylist, was added to a fairly late update to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Kid Trunks has a couple of skills that he has the voices for, and there's a good chance we would have got most, if not all of these, if he had won the Conton City Vault. I believe he was in there. If not, don't worry about it. Those skills being Burning Attack, Dancing Para, the Super Kamehameha Ultimate, and Miracle Knee. Side note, there was a preset of Kid Trunks in Xenoverse 1 which did have Super Kamehameha, but for whatever reason that preset was removed from Xenoverse 1 to Xenoverse 2, so we can't as of right now use Super Kamehameha on Kid Trunks. Weirdly enough, he's, again, like I just said, he had this in Xenoverse 1. Take a listen to the voices.
What? Go! Here I go! Okay, right and right, left and left, spin and turn, and a great big smile. This gotta be the lamest thing on earth. Bam! Ha! Oops, no, I've got it.
おーいけいくよはいライトレフトくるっと飛んでにっこりスマイル果てしなくダサいくれはーうっといや余裕
There's a way to unlock several skills in one go, and that is to defeat, or rather to win, in the Crystal Raid mode, regardless of which team you're on, as in if you're the raid boss or one of the raid bosses in the 2 vs 4 Crystal Raid mode, or if you're battling against the raid boss or the raid bosses. Keep in mind, I believe for DLC you'll need the appropriate DLC pack, and I don't think it includes skills from every single DLC pack, but I may be wrong on that, and I don't believe it includes the Supreme Kai of Time skills either. During the online Frieza event in Conton City in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Frieza's spaceship via the time miniature, as you can see right here, becomes inaccessible. You can't visit Frieza's spaceship to do the missions, such as to get, you know, the Turn Gold and Awoken skill, to do the Frieza or Cooler missions, whatever you want to call them. However, there is actually a way to fix this, even if the event is on. Firstly, I mean, you can see it on screen right here. Firstly, quit the game, then on your console, disconnect from the internet. I think on PC, if you're using an Infinite cable, just disconnect the Infinite cable or start Steam offline or have you. Disconnect from the internet, then restart Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, then log in. At this point, keep in mind you won't have the option of going to the multi-lobby or the single lobby. You'll just select the character and it'll load in, and it'll actually load in faster. Interesting bit of tidbit there in case you're loading faster in the future. Then Content City will be static. It'll be as if, well, like how it is when the game first came out. Therefore, you can then fly to the Frieza time miniature to then access the ship, to do the missions or whatever you need to do. Then if you want, you can then quit the game again, reconnect to the internet, and then continue as you were. If you access your play trends in play data, you'll get a couple of play trends which indicates or claims that you have certain favorite characters, favorite skills, and stuff like that. Although this technically is wrong, at least to some point, because it may not actually be your personal favorite skill, super attack, ultimate attack, character, or have you. What this actually is the characters and skills and stuff like that that you've actually used the most, not your technical favorite, again, super attack, ultimate, finisher, I think it is, as well as character. Vegito, Yosha in the comments, has access to basically 4 Awoken skills, or rather not access to, but he has the voices, so hopefully in a future update he will get access to those. We'll go over those in a moment, but the other unused voice lines that he has include voices to use the Spirit Bomb super attack, Destructo Disc, Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times 20, the Solar Flare super attack, and of all things, a voice line for Super Saiyan 2, but not 3. Just for Super Saiyan 2. With that said, this is really interesting to me. Take a listen to Vegito's unused voice lines.
Give me energy! Take this! Destructo Disc! Kaioken! Kaioken times 3! Solar Flare! Guess I'm Super Vegito 2 now!
俺に元気をくらえ気炎山はあ海洋圏3倍海洋圏うわー太陽圏スーパーベジット2ってとこか
Going back all the way now to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1, there was a quite advanced technique that people use mostly online against other players called Kamehameha cancelling. The essence of this, and the footage you can see right here, I wouldn't say I'm embarrassed by it, but given how, not laggy, but given Xenoverse 1 is in 30 frames instead of 60, it is quite jarring, trying to do this with pretty much no prior practice for years. The essence of this is that you will do something, for example, a basic light combo, again, for example, then to cancel the animation so you can move out the way, you'll then go for the Kamehameha super attack. It has to specifically be the standard Kamehameha super attack, nothing else, not the super Kamehameha, not burst, not times 10, not the Kamehameha, just a standard basic Kamehameha super attack, you know which one I'm talking about. Then you would use it, and the second that it's used, the split second that it's used, you'll then jump X on PlayStation to then move out the way, and this wouldn't take any key when using the Kamehameha because you've not charged it and you've not activated it. This is pretty much akin to what Ki Blast cancelling is in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and Ki Blast cancelling is much easier than Kamehameha cancelling. Did you know that Android 16 has a unique animation when he uses any of his basic or charged Ki Blasts? And bonus fact, as far as I'm aware, custom Android 16, which you can change the Super Soul on and other things, his moveset and what have you, as far as I'm aware, the charged Ki Blast for custom Android 16 will stay the same as the heavy Ki Blast. I do think Most other characters can change depending on the Super Soul, but whatever, that's neither here or there. As you can see right here, when using Android 16, any of the key blasts, he will remove one of his hands and shoot it that way. Kind of like when he goes for Hell's Flash. Now, I do know there's at least one other character that has a unique charged key blast animation, that being, funnily enough, his mom, Android 21, Volmy. And that's if you didn't know that. Sucks to suck. but let me know in the comments, are there any other characters as of right now in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 that have a different animation when you go for either and or both the basic Ki Blast or the Charge Ki Blast? I want to say there's at least one more, but off the top of my head, recording this part right here, I can't quite remember. Let me know in the comments. If you see someone in Canton City or in a lobby, whether it be a parallel quest, a ranked lobby, play match, endless raid, what have you, it doesn't matter. If their name is red rather than white, then this means that that player specifically is a mass rage quitter. They rage quit when they are about to lose or when they do actually lose. But because of how Xenoverse works, as of right now, it doesn't count it as a win or as a loss. It counts it as a no contest. Again, that's only if they have a red name rather than a white name. This next one, it's not exactly a hidden detail, but it is certainly something that I find absolutely remarkable. So for this one remarkable detail here, you can see this Super Soul right here, the Hit Super Soul, the Now You Understand Surrender Super Soul. This was the final Super Soul. How many times will I say that those two words? Feel free to count. That was the final Super Soul added to the base game of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 as the game, I guess, went gold and, released. Every single Super Soul after this one right here was added after Xenoverse 2 came out, either as part of paid DLC, via parallel quests, mentor missions like the Zamasu one or what have you, or as part of when they update the TP Metal Store to add new Super Souls that are not part of paid DLC. It is absolutely stunning how much content Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 has got since it was released. I mean, there's more Super Souls post-release than there is since in the base game. It is genuinely remarkable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I would not have this any other way. Without any shadow of a doubt, the absolute rarest item as of right now in all of Xenoverse is, funnily enough, I can't even say how funny it is, it's the Tianxia wig, the What If fusion from, I believe, Budokai 3 or 2, I forget which one off the top of my head, of the What If fusion between Yamcha and Tien. This has only ever been available just once. Yes, as of right now, there are two artworks that have never been given out, so that makes them unobtainable. But in terms of the rarest legitimate outfit, or rather item you can get, it is the Tianxia accessory wig. I would assume at some point in the future they will make this available at least once more. Yes, you've got the Dragon Ball Z Paragus outfit, but that's been available at least twice, maybe even 3 times, as well as the Tapion outfits, which are now being available at least in raids. But at least as of right now, the Tianxia wig of everything else in the game, a completely pointless item with no stat increases or anything like that because it's an accessory, is the absolute rarest item in all of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Why the Tianxia wig, dude? Mostly because of YouTubers, hi, that includes me, we tend to call each Xenoverse 2 DLC one number after what it actually is. So for example, the Hero of Justice Pack 1 DLC is technically and officially the 14th paid DLC for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, but as YouTubers, we refer to it as DLC 15. The reason for this is because in 2020, when the free Supreme Kite of Time update came out, we just referred to that during the promotion and for like YouTube titles and thumbnails and stuff like that. We referred to that DLC as DLC 11 because it was the 11th major update. So if there's any sort of like confusion of like, oh, why are they calling this DLC 15, DLC 16, etc, 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 that's the reason for it. And I think we're kind of too far in at this point now to start calling it, for example, DLC 14, because we did that for the Conton City Vault DLC, and then DLC 15 or 13 was Legendary Pack 2, even though it was the 12th paid DLC. You can't access the Frieza Time Rift if the Frieza Force Invasion event is on in Conton City. Now, again, for the purposes of this video, I couldn't get any footage of that specifically, just because the Frieza Invasion event is a timed event in Xenoverse 2. It comes on every couple of months or every X amount of time. I don't know when, well, I don't know how long that is. It is pretty much random when it happens, but again, for the purposes of this video, unfortunately, I couldn't get any footage of that specifically just because the event wasn't on. Conton City, the overworld, the hub world, we're going to call it, for Xenoverse 2 is technically Toki City, the overworld, hub world, again, we want to call it, for the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game. The reason why it changed, and I believe this is in the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 manga, is because of these the time rifts in Xenoverse 2. Apparently there was loads of those appearing, and the city couldn't be contained, so I believe it was Supreme Kai time with, I think, maybe Elder Kai. They then expanded it into what is now known as Conton City. For some reason, whenever you use body change on Kid Buu, or as well as Kid Buu, Super Venus Mode Kid Buu, for some reason his face does this weird warping thing. It only appears on this version of Buu and no other character as far as I'm aware. I don't know if this is a reference to pure evil Buu, that Majin Buu battled to and then got 8 to then become Super Buu. But it's just interesting that this is the only Majin Buu character in the game that this happens to. Very bizarre and a little bit eerie, to be honest. You can get an incredible amount of contribution points in online raids in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 if the raid boss is using the gigantic Ki Blast Venus Mode, what I call it, Ultima, as you can see in this clip, and you send it back by using the Soul Punisher Ultima. I did this twice in this run right here against Venus Mode, Omega Shenron, or whatever it was off the top of my head, I can't remember. And I got the most contribution points from a raid that I've ever gotten, which was about, as you can see on the screen, about, give or take, 35,000. Now, with that said, yes, I got first place, but on the scoreboard, so as in like the points built up for the rewards, I think I forget exactly how much, but I believe I got about, give or take, only 12,000 points. So not too bad, but you can definitely get better, better points via, spamming Emperor's Death Beam, bending Kamehameha, whatever. But in terms of getting like first place, yeah, just send the gigantic Ki Blast back via Soul Punisher. And also Soul Punisher is a base game attack from the skill shop, so all good there. We can all do it. Yeah. When it was revealed, the very, very unfortunate and sad news, it's still sad several months later as I'm recording this part right here, of Mr. Toriyama back in the start of March 2024, the official Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 website actually updated, not immediately, but I think the following morning, to inform fans of the very sad news. Now, this really isn't a hidden detail. I just wanted an excuse to talk about Mr. Toriyama for a moment, to be honest. But also, it was strange, not strange that it was posted, but what you have to understand, I've been checking this website pretty much every day for new information on raids, updates, events that they do, TP medal increases, what have you. And prior to this, and since, they've only used the website like strictly for business. They have never used it for anything outside of that, for like news on Xenoverse, if there's any Breakers collabs or what have you. Again, this isn't necessarily a hidden detail, and coming up in a moment, I just wanted to talk briefly about Mr. Toriyama. Still miss it, man. Majub has a somewhat secret second preset, which is Majub in the Oob outfit, and a moveset that more so resembles Oob from the end of Dragon Ball Z. To get this, you do need the appropriate DLC, I believe at least, which is DLC 10, also known as officially Ultra Pack 2. You do need to go and buy the Oob gift in the TP Metal Store if it's available. Then go and talk to Oob, who should be by the World Tournament Arena next to Hit. Talk to him, hand over the gift, and you'll get the second preset of Majoob. Raccoon, which rhymes with Doom, is a very I can't sugarcoat it. It's weird. The 3 skills that he has the voice lines for, which he hasn't used. First, we've got Fighting Pose E. Makes sense. The Fighting Pose skills are Ginyu Force specific skills, so Fighting Pose E, that makes sense. Dancing Power, which I mean, sure, why not? But then the weirdest one, for some reason, he has voice lines associated, or rather, the codes are attached to Maiden Burst, the Maiden Burst Evasive, which is used by characters such as Ribrian and GT Pan. You've got to take a listen to these.
Ginyu Force! Raccoon! Here I go! Okay, right, left and left, spin and turn and a big old smile. Can you add more pizzazz to that? Yahoo! Hi!
Ginyu 特戦隊リクーム行くわよはい Right Left ぐるっとターンでにっこりスマイルもっとビシッと決められないのやっほーHi!
If you recover on an invisible ground, you can actually recover by using a double-handed backflip. For the purposes of this video, I spent a good 20 minutes trying over and over and over again to try and get this, but I personally couldn't do it. I have done it in videos in the past, but it's something that I don't know what the exact timing is. I spent a long time trying to do it, couldn't do it. Feel free to try it yourself and let me know if there's any specific trick to it. But again, this only works if it's an invisible ground rather than a solid, flat surface. There's actually a decent chance that the Breaker Energy Wave Ultimate Attack, also known as the Angry Kamehameha, was originally planned to be in the base game, but for whatever reason was cut or taken out of the base game to be resold later on. And the reason for this, well, there's a few reasons. Firstly, it's the first new skill available from the first DLC that Xenoverse got, so it was from Parallel Quest 101, and if you go into the skill list, it's actually near the top. Now, every DLC skill, with the exception of the Breaker Energy Wave, and I think the Jumping Energy Wave, but you can get that from the TP Metal Store technically for free or without having to buy additional content, every DLC skill is at the bottom of the list, apart from, again, the Breaker Energy Wave, even though that is also a DLC skill, meaning that, yeah, there's actually a very good chance that they deliberately and intentionally removed this from the base game to put into a paid DLC later on. If that is the case, then, well, make of that what you will. Did you know that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has voice lines for both Spirit Bomb and the Super Spirit Bomb Ultimate, which are identical, the Destructo Disc Super Attack, Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times 20, and the Solar Flare Super Attack, but he can't use these, which is unfortunate because we do have a custom preset for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And he even has like time skips, so him not having these skills, which are granted mostly Goku based abilities, is a little bit disappointing. But regardless of that, do make sure you take a listen to the unused voice lines for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta.
Give me energy! Take this! Destructo Disc! Kaioken! Kaioken times 3! Yeah! Solar Flare!
俺に元気をくらえ飛燕山海洋圏3倍海洋圏うわ太陽圏
Despite not being able to stack Dragon Balls, as in once you've got all 7 Dragon Balls, you can't get any more of them until you summon Shenron and use Dragon Balls, in very rare circumstances, you can kind of have ownership over multiple copies of Dragon Balls at the same time. For example, right here, I technically, as of this part here, like this footage, have 3 sets of Dragon Balls. The first set is what I have from getting them from payload quests, and the other 2 sets here are from the time space delivery from participating in the Piccolo exclusive world tournament and the Gohan exclusive world tournaments to celebrate the Japanese release rather, of Dragon Ball Superhero. I don't know what's going to happen if I accept both of these at the same time. I'm sure they will get overwritten and I'll lose 2 copies of them. But it's just interesting that in very rare circumstances, for 90 days at most, you can technically have ownership of multiple sets of Dragon Balls in Xenoverse 2, despite Dragon Balls not being stackable. When you do the Supreme Kai of Time tournament, the online event to get certain artwork, Super Souls, Supreme Kai of Time skills, and Supreme Kai of Time herself as an actual playable character in Xenoverse 2, when you go for the 3rd mission where you fight against whichever mentor you have selected, if you do this without any mentor being selected, Majub will be your opponent. Now, do keep in mind, if you want to try this yourself, try it on a different character that you've already completed the story mode with. I believe you have to complete the story mode of Xenoverse 2, as in defeat Final Form Mirror, to actually be able to participate in the Supreme Kai of Time Canton City tournament event, when it does happen every between 2 to 8, give or take, weeks. But keep in mind, if you already have a mentor selected, you can only switch mentors, you can't remove them. I don't know if there is a way to do that, to get rid of one without having another one selected. So do keep in mind, it's worth doing it because it's quite interesting. Again, if you have no mentor selected on the 3rd Supreme Kai of Time tournament mission out of the 5 of them, Majub will be your opponent instead of it being whichever mentor you would have selected at that time. The name of the voice actor you can see on the screen right now, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce just in case I butcher his name, I do apologize in advance, is actually voice 7 for male custom characters in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. He's also the voice actor for Gibbler in Dragon Ball Legends. Please, oh please, oh please, it's about time now. Enough time has passed. Can we please get a Dragon Ball Legends themed DLC pack in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, base form and Super Saiyan God Gibbler, base form Shallot, Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3 Shallot, Shallot Blue, Super Saiyan God Shallot, what's the fusion name? Shallot? Whatever it's called. Please, enough time has passed. We need these in a future DLC update for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments of this video. GT Goku has voice lines from skills that other versions of Goku, GT Goku, for example, Dragon Ball Z Goku can use, but for some reason, GT Goku can't use them, and it's not really a good reason why, given that it's skills that, I guess, like normal skills that he can use. With that said, those skills are Super God Fist, Destructo Disc, Kaioken, Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times 20, and the Solar Flare Super Attack. Take a listen to these voice lines.
Take this! Huh? Destructo Disc! Kaioken! Huh? How about this? Ah! I'm about to get serious here! Ah! I'm borrowing your technique! Solar Flare!
くらえはっ剣山海洋剣はっやってやるぜああ本気出させてもらうぞああ技借りぜ海洋剣
Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta from specifically Xenoverse 1 is the rarest character in all of the Xenoverse series so far. And the reason being is because Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, as well as the Crystal and Golden battle suits, were a Xenoverse 1 pre-order exclusive bonus. Although they did give out, as in Bandai Namco did give out some codes after Xenoverse 1 was released, if you were to get Xenoverse 1 right now, brand new, either as a physical game or as a digital download, the chances are you're not going to be able to get Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta as a playable character, because again, he was a pre-order exclusive character, and at least as of the recording and presumably upload of this video, you can't download the pre-order or purchase the pre-order bonus digitally for Xenoverse 1 like how you can for Xenoverse 2. And if you do have a physical code for Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in Xenoverse 1, there's a good chance that it's either been used already or, more likely at this point, that code would have expired. There's a character in Canton City by the name of Tosok, where if you go and talk to him, you can level up all the way from level 1 all the way to level 99 by using Zenny from level 1 to level 80, and then using TP medals from level 81 to level 99. You can do this immediately as long as you have the necessary Zenny and TP medals, and if you've already prior unlocked your potential to get to level 99 on a different character by talking to Guru in the Namek Time Rift. God of Destruction Beerus has a couple of skills which he has the voices for, but he can't use, and I'm not really too disappointed about this one specifically, even though we do have a custom preset of Beerus. But these 3 skills are Scissors, Rock, Paper, which is probably a reference to Rock, Paper, Scissors against Oolong in the Battle of the Gods movie, Lullaby Punch, and Dancing Para Para.
Let's play. Rock, scissors, paper. I'm the one who wants to go home and sleep, you know. Huh? We're doing this? Okay. A right and a right. Left, left, left. Spin and turn. And a great big smile. I'm better than Vegeta, no?
じゃんけんグーチョキパーほはー寝たいのは僕なんだけどねあやっちゃうはいライトライトレフトレフトくるっとターンでにっこりスマイルベジータよかましだろ
Both legendary Super Saiyan Brody from Dragon Ball Z as well as full power Super Saiyan Brody from Dragon Ball Super Brody are the only 2 characters in the game right now to have a different color for their basic ki blasts. Instead of it being yellow, theirs are green to represent legendary Super Saiyan, full power Super Saiyan, stuff like that. Yes, Ribrianne does fire hearts, but at the same time, those aren't necessarily ki blasts. They are, but it's not like it's a reskin of the ki blast. Just a bit of a disclaimer right there. You can only win by using self-destruct online if you're not the host of the lobby. For example, if you are the host of the lobby and someone joins and you have max health and they have as little health as possible without actually being defeated, if you then go for self-destruct and it connects, you won't win regardless. You cannot win by being the host of the lobby. This is never explained. It's assumed that it's a bit of a glitch or an oversight because it doesn't make sense at all. But yeah, just weird. There's a feature in Xenoverse 2 that you may have forgotten about, and that is the Canton City radio. And the reason why you may have forgotten about it is because there's only 3, I guess, like broadcasts or what have you that, well, not a broadcast, like it only plays 3 times and each time is a different broadcast. I think 2 of them are of Kale and Caulifla, and they talk about Super Saiyan Pink, not Rose, Super Saiyan Pink or something like that. And the other one is of Super Baby Vegeta 2. This was added in DLC 7, also known as Extra Pack 3, but it only plays once per avatar, per character, CAC, again, whatever you want to call it, once you enter and exit or reload Canton City. You can't even talk to, is it Garrett, the robot, by the time-space delivery, like that thing there to play it. So why this was added is a complete mystery because it only plays once per character and you'll never hear it on that character, at least as of right now, ever again. It's why? Just why? It is technically possible to make a completely neutral QQ bang, as in it doesn't give you any plus or any minus points to the 6 given stats. I did try to make one for the purposes of this video, but I believe it's completely RNG. So with that said, if you guys know of any recipes to make a completely neutral QQ bang, please do let us know what they are in the comments, as I do want one, just for the sake of saying that I have a neutral QQ bang. Custom Future Gohan for some strange reason, has the ability to use the father-son Kamehameha ultimate attack. Of course, this is an ultimate that is, well, was before this exclusive to specifically preset 2 of Teen Gohan, you know, the preset where it's fighting against Cell. But for some reason, they made this available for custom Future Gohan, but not for custom adult Gohan from the main timeline, not the History of Trunks timeline. Now, granted, yes, there is a cutscene in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 as part of, I believe, Legendary Pack 1, where it's Super Saiyan Future Gohan with Super Saiyan Blue Goku using the Father-Son Kamehameha to destroy, or rather to defeat, the like the load of Ginembers. So that makes sense, but I believe this was added in at least a year, or at least a couple of years before that cutscene. Just a little bit strange, however, how it's only available for custom Future Gohan, but not custom adult Gohan from the main timeline. Future Gohan has 3 skills that he can't use but has the voices for, those being the Kamehameha Super Attack, Masenko, and Evil Explosion. I'm fairly certain the reason why he can't use these skills is because of, well, he's got 1 arm, but he has 2 arms, but he can only use 1 arm. You know, 1 arm, of course, it's Future Gohan. So I would imagine it's an issue of just the animations not being made. However, apparently there is an animation for the one-handed Kamehameha Super Attack, but I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why they didn't add it in, which is surprising given that we do have a custom preset of Future Gohan. Hopefully in a future update, maybe in a festival update, who knows, they will give these 3 skills, which are pretty good to be fair, to Future Gohan.
Kamehame! Ha! Masenko! Explosive Demon Wave!
Kamehame! Ha! Masenko! Takuriki Maha!
Despite being able to make a pure blood Saiyan custom character, for some reason, whenever you turn Super Saiyan, your hair doesn't spike up, with the exception of Super Saiyan 3, and that's just a completely different hair model anyway. But for any of the other transformations, or Super Saiyan transformations, as of right now, whenever you transform into any of those Super Saiyan forms, your hair just changes colour, and the appearance outside of the colour doesn't change at all. Before it was revealed to be called Xenoverse, what we now know as Dragon Ball Xenoverse was first known as Dragon Ball Z Project 2014. And a few bonus facts for you here relating to this. It wasn't revealed to be Xenoverse until that year's E3, so E3 2014, when they revealed the official trailer and called it Dragon Ball Xenoverse. And also, once again, a bit of a bonus fact for you here, because of, again, mistranslations, rumors, mishearing things and stuff like that, before it was called Xenoverse, for like maybe an hour, maybe a couple of hours, or maybe just for like under an hour, around like that sort of time frame, I guess, before the trailer was officially revealed, we thought, oh, it's either going to be called Xenoverse, or again, because of mistranslations and mishearing things and stuff like that, it was either going to be called Xenoverse or Xenobirth. Not Zeno as in Grand Zeno, because he wasn't even introduced yet, just like Xenobirth, Xenoverse. Do you get it? You can actually find a Super Dragon Ball radar as an accessory near the Dragon Ball pedestal in Canton City. Now, unfortunately, for the purposes of this video, I wasn't able to find one. Just go and reload the game, as in make a parallel quest room or what have you, or just restart the game in general. Then go to this area here and then pick up all the items on the ground, and eventually you will find a Super Dragon Ball radar accessory that you can actually wear. Did you know that there's a very easy way to level up your custom characters in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2? Going to Tosok right here in Canton City in Xenoverse 2, you can use any TP medals and or STP medals to level up from level 1 all the way to the maximum level. Now, do keep in mind, you do need to have a character that has broken their limits before. So if you can only get to, for example, level 85 on your highest level character, when you make a new character or try to level up another existing character using Tosok, you can only go up to level 85. So if you have given Whis in Canton City the tempura, I believe these you can then get from level 1 all the way to level 140. That will take you about, give or take, as you can see on the screen right here, about give or take 16 or so minutes. So again, you need to, you can't surpass your highest level character, if that makes sense. You need to have unlocked your potential via Guru and your potential via Whis. Lightning Impact Ultimate Attack, the Majube Ultimate, has the longest range out of every attack in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 as of right now, as you can see right here. I actually thought the longest range was the father-son Kamehameha that Gohan and future Gohan can use, but no, it's the Majube Lightning Impact. I don't believe it increases the distance if it's charged or if you just do it straight away, but as you can see here, compared to the father-son Kamehameha, Lightning Impact actually goes past by a considerable amount. It goes past the invisible wall, the invisible barrier, keeping you in bounds on the Archipelago stage, as you can see right here. The range is absolutely ludicrous. However, I mean, on a custom character, there is a Super Soul, I believe, the Caulifla Super Soul, where it automatically forces your opponent to lock on. But for the most part, you are probably not going to hit Lightning Impact from this distance, at least not on the Archipelago stage. Vados will appear in the Time Nest if you complete the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 Destroyer Tournament DLC. Before this, she's nowhere to be seen in the Time Nest, but if you get the DLC and complete that part of the story mode, Vados will be a permanent fixture in the Time Nest. For some reason, they hid her away. There's no explanation to this. But yeah, Vados will appear in the Time Nest if you get that DLC and complete it. If you don't have it, she will never appear in the Time Nest. Did you know that preset 3 of Gohan has this Super Soul right here with the Limit Burst boosting the damage of the Kamehameha Super Attack? It is just the Kamehameha Super Attack, no other version, Supers or Ultimates included. However, on preset 3 of Gohan, he doesn't have this attack. Instead, he has Masenko. Side note, I can't remember if Gohan during the Cell Saga actually used Masenko. If he did, please let me know in the comments. And the Limit Burst, once activated, for some reason, does actually increase the damage of all of the attacks on Gohan. But again, he doesn't have the Kamehameha Super Attack. It was presumably replaced with either Meteor Crash or with the Masenko Super Attack. I do expect this to be changed in the future because this is quite literally a pointless Limit Burst to have specifically on preset 3 of Gohan. The Tapion outfit, regardless of which version, they are all incredibly rare items to get in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. The reason for this is because I believe, honestly, all of them, I think, as of this upload, I believe they've all only been available to get once, and that was for getting a certain amount of points in, I forget if it was in a world tournament or in ranked matches in a set amount of time. Mira's presets are called Universe 7 Clothing, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, depending on the preset. This is interesting because given that it's specifically labeled as Universe 7, you would think that this may indicate that there's other versions of Mira in different universes. For example, universes 1 through 12. Who knows, maybe a hint at a future game. Again, who knows, we'll have to wait and see. Base form Vegeta is significantly more stronger than Super Villainous Mode Janemba. Let me explain, as you can see right here. Vegeta in his base form defeats a powered up Janemba. Again, Vegeta's in his base form just by using a final flash. This doesn't matter, and I'm only mentioning this because this is somewhat of an inside joke or a running joke on my channel when I do my Xenoverse 2 challenge videos. It doesn't matter, it's not serious, it's dumb, I love it. But given that it took Goku and Vegeta to not only fuse to make Gogeta, but for it to be Super Saiyan Gogeta to defeat a weaker version of Janemba, given that Vegeta in a weaker form can one-shot a stronger version of that character, makes no sense. I mean, could you at least have made him Super Saiyan 1 or Super Saiyan 2, maybe? If you use the Darkness Mixer super attack on the various villainous mode characters in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, it will charge up both their ki and stamina, but with a priority on ki, meaning if you charge it up, then you get max ki, but you still don't have your stamina maxed out, it's going to stop. But it can somewhat be a pseudo burst charge for stamina, as you can see right here. When you have max ki, if you still don't have full stamina, you can use it and it will give you a little bit of stamina back, pretty much for nothing. Plus, do keep in mind, Darkness Mixer does give you some sort of protection. Now, granted, a basic ki blast will stop the attack, or rather stop the charge, but if you just dash through your opponent while you are using Darkness Mixer, it's going to do a tiny bit of damage and stun them. So do keep in mind that if you don't have full stamina but max ki and you can use Darkness Mixer, just spam it if you can to just supercharge to some extent your stamina. And speaking of the Xenoverse 2 title menu, because this is the second Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, there is a 2-star Dragon Ball on the title menu and back in the original Xenoverse game, because it's naturally the first Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, there was a 1-star Dragon Ball. So hopefully if Xenoverse 3 happens, they'll continue this little bit of a tradition with the 3rd-star Dragon Ball. Female custom Saiyan characters will keep their eyebrows when they use Super Saiyan 3. Now, in all fairness, I want to say this maybe was already a thing in Dragon Ball Heroes at the time, and technically as well Super Dragon Ball Heroes for female Saiyans. But yeah, just interesting how in Xenoverse 2, a female Saiyan will keep their eyebrows, unlike a male Saiyan if they use Super Saiyan 3. There are several tiers of Hercule badges in Xenoverse 2. The main reason for these are just to sell to get a lot of Zenny in return. You can also, if you want, use these as mixing items when you mix them to make a QQ bang. But honestly, for the most part, well, not even for the most part, there are several better mixing items you can use to make a QQ bang rather than using the Hercule badges. Basic ki blasts have no effect at all on God of Destruction Toppo because of his Hikoshin, or what we call it, his Destroyer energy, his aura. Keep in mind, though, that they do technically work on him and it will do damage and stun him and stuff like that if he's not in a position to sort of like protect himself. But if you just spam basic ki blasts on God of Destruction Toppo, as you can see right here, they'll just have no effect on him at all. The playable model for Supreme Kai of Time has been significantly updated and is now more detailed compared to the non-playable model of the Supreme Kai of Time. This is widely speculated to be because of the fact that this was maybe planned for a 3rd Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, but was ported over, I guess is the word, to Xenoverse 2 to continue with the updates. Gigantic Roar is the worst skill to use in raids. The reason being is because, yes, although it may do a decent amount of damage, and although it only hits the opponent once, it then gives the opponent, the raid boss, a few seconds of invincibility, meaning they do not receive any more damage for, again, just a couple of seconds, which makes it very unfair and very annoying for the other teammates. Do not use this. It's also just as bad as Divine Lasso, because Divine Lasso traps them in like a bit of it's like a cutscene animation, what have you. Do not use either of these skills. As a side note, when I host lobbies for raids online just randomly and people join, if anyone uses these and then they join back, I do tend to kick them because, again, you're making it so your other teammates can't do as much damage as they would normally be able to do. Kid Buu has several skills that he can't use but has the voices for, and at least 2 of them are quite interesting. Those being the normal Kamehameha super attack, not the Majin Kamehameha, just the standard, basic, iconic Kamehameha super attack, Evil Ray Strike and Evil Ray Strike, which are Gohan skills, Kid Gohan skills, interestingly enough, Angry Hit, Ill Rain, and the Candy Beam Evasive. Not the super attack, the evasive skill.
Yeah! Yeah! Bah! Yeah! Ah! Get!
The presumably placeholder music for the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 network test title menu resembles One Leaf Clover by Metallica, a great song. Now, for obvious reasons, I can't play the Metallica version, but it's exactly the same. And it's that guy who, I forget his name off the top of my head, who got in a lot of trouble for plagiarizing music from older Dragon Ball games. This may actually be the last time one of his songs or tracks was used in a Dragon Ball game. Legitimately, I think it probably was the last, because when Raging Blast 2 came out, that's when it all kicked off. Then a few years later, we had Xenoverse 1, and here the Xenoverse 1 network test music. Take a listen to it, and then compare it to Metallica's One Leaf Clover. Take a listen. If you use an ultimate attack on your opponent, but you don't lock on to your opponent, they will not receive that sort of heads-up display alert on the side of the screen. Depending on the opponent, the situation, as well as the skill, for example, a great skill to use for this specific situation will be, again, for example, the Super Key Explosion ultimate attack. You can pretty much win a fight, basically, especially if you've just exited a clash. Funnily enough, they added custom beast characters that could use the Beast Awakening skill several months before Gohan Beast himself. What does it feel like Gohan Beast always gets shafted in Dragon Ball games? He's probably, he is DLC for the upcoming Sparking Zero, or if this video is used later on, he's already Sparking in Sparking Zero. In Dokkan Battle, he wasn't playable for months, and again, in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, it's so bad. Like, custom characters, you couldn't literally make a level 1 character and give him the Beast Awoken literally months before the original Beast character was added of Gohan Beast. In case you don't know, I mean, it's on the screen right now, it's the form Gohan uses towards the end of the Dragon Ball superhero movie against Cell Max. But our custom characters could do it before him. There are 2 skills in Xenoverse 2 with the exact same name. That is the Super Explosive Wave. The first one is the evasive skill, and the second one is a key-based super attack, which can also be used to, well, you can go for backflip before you click it, if you click L1 downwards, and it launches a sort of like a miniature version of the full power energy wave ultimate attack. Teen Gohan has a couple of skills that he has the voice lines for, but he can't actually use these attacks. So once again, if Gohan was one of the few characters, the 5 characters that had won the Hero Vault Partner Customization Key Vault, there's a good chance that he could have received most, if not all 4 of these attacks. Those attacks being Evil Explosion, Explosive Assault, Special Beam Cannon, and Hell Zone Grenade.
Explosive! Demon Wave! Special Beam Cannon! I won't hold back, okay?
Bakuriki! Mahat! Dadadadak! Hap! Dadak! Hap! Makanko Sappa! 遠慮はしないからな!
If you look carefully at the Xenoverse 2 title menu, in the XV you can actually see the Toki City Hourglass, despite this not making an appearance in Xenoverse 2, with the exception of, I believe, just one mission in the Xenoverse 2 story mode, where you go back in time to just before Trunks summons Shenron, back in the original Xenoverse game. If you use the Kaioken times 20 awoken skill, so using Kaioken when you have 5 or more bars of ki to then go into Kaioken times 20, you will be able to vanish as much as you want without it actually draining any stamina per vanish. But do keep in mind that your stamina will constantly slowly drain, but again, it's not going to take any stamina away from you when you vanish. Potential unleashed on Ultimate Gohan, or rather Adult Gohan, and potential unleashed for your custom character, although they are the same awoken skill, the same skill, they are technically just a little bit different from one another. On Gohan, well, the appearance is different from Gohan to your custom character, and the shading and lighting is different as well. There's various Super Souls in Xenoverse 2 that belong to characters or different forms of characters that aren't currently in the game or even in the Xenoverse series as of right now. These include Super Namekian, or rather the giant version of Piccolo from the original Dragon Ball, as well as characters such as Android 19 and Dr. Jello. There's a Namekian in Canton City that had his name change. I'm not going to say what it used to be or even what it is right now, but you can see right here, this Namekian had a slightly different name when the game first came out, and it was changed because it sounded similar to another word which is widely considered to be offensive. Now for this next one, I'm not entirely sure if this was a glitch or if it's been removed from the game, but if you used Emperor's Sign in a team battle and you used it and you were a freeze race character, you can make your teammates move beyond what looks like modded speed. Again, I don't know if this is still in the game or if it's been changed or what have you, but you can make for some pretty interesting results regardless. Did you know that there are voice lines for base form Goku Black for him to use the Destructo Disc super attack, Kaioken, Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times 20, and the Solar Flare super attack? Take a listen.
Die! Kaioken! Solar Flare!
切り裂くてや海王剣見せてやるうわ太陽剣
Of all the characters that you could have picked for this next one, this is probably like the least likely, or like if I had to guess like 100 characters, I probably wouldn't even guess this one here. Omega Shenron has a voice line to use the Solar Flare super attack. Now, in fairness, I think this one wasn't added, or it's not been added yet, because this would make Omega Shenron an even better character. He's a decent character, he's got a ton of health, especially on his custom preset. But yeah, there's a voice line, an unused voice line, as right now on Omega Shenron in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, of him using the Solar Flare Super. It's not the Festival Evasive, it's just the Super version. Take a listen to it.
Solar Flare! Kaioken! Solar Flare! Kaioken!
If you already have all 3 of the current raid bosses unlocked, those 3 being Demigra, Final Form Mirror, and Corrupted Merged Zamasu, and then you rebuy those gifts and then talk to Fu again and hand over those gifts, he'll then instead, because you've already got those characters unlocked, he'll then instead give you 10 Demon Realm Crystals per gift you give him. If you summon Shenron with the Dragon Balls and then wait, Shenron will get a little bit impatient with you, and there's a few lines that he says that I just think are out of character and just funny. So that said, have a listen.
What's the matter? Hurry up and wish. Wishes. Get your wishes here. Hello? Excuse me. I'm waiting for your wish. Waiting. I was created by the gods. As a result, I cannot grant any wish that would be beyond the power of a god.
Goku has 3 skills that he cannot use, but the voice lines are in the game regardless. Those skills being scissors, rock, paper, the power pole, the normal version, not the power pole combo or the awoken, and interestingly enough, the Turles' Meteor Burst Ultimate. Now, scissors, rock, paper, and power pole, of course, other versions of him from GT can use this, but Meteor Burst is an odd one. With that said, take a listen to these unused voice lines.
1, 2, rock! Scissors! Paper! Extend! Power pole! That one stung a bit. Time for payback!
じゃんけんグーチョキパー伸びろにょいば少し効いたぞお返しだ
You are doing a parallel quest and you have the computer as your teammate. If you fly just above the ground, getting it just right is a little bit tricky, but if you can just fly just above a solid ground, the computer, if it's on the ground, when you do this, will jump infinitely, as you can see Vegito doing here. Oh yes, Yosha in the comments. Now this is probably because you are at the, I guess like the threshold to some extent of being on the ground and being in the air, so the computer is trying to jump to fly, or rather than trying to fly, but because you are at that very special, I guess to some extent, a bit of a Goldilocks zone, the computer doesn't know what to do, so it just jumps infinitely until the timer runs out, or of course until you move and you put them out of the suffering. If you use the ×20 Kaioken Kamehameha ultimate attack on Goku and you're playing in the English dub in Xenoverse 2, at the end of the attack, the voice will go into Japanese. Do take a listen because it is pretty funny. The Hakai Ultimate Attack, also officially known as in Xenoverse 2, the Destructive Fission Ultimate Attack, was severely nerfed in the Legendary Pack 2 update, the free update rather, that balanced out skills, the patch updates and stuff like that. It got nerfed to the point where, as of right now at least, the way that Hakai works is if you take any damage at all, either it be from like a basic key blast or even a stone thrown by Jacko or have you, if you've launched the Hakai and receive any damage, regardless of how small it may be, it will disintegrate the Hakai. Whereas before, the way it worked is that it would only disintegrate if you had your stamina broken, or rather if you waited long enough and the Hakai didn't hit your opponent, or if you didn't activate it. Thanks, Bandai. If you pick preset 2 of Majub, which is the preset, the gift preset that resembles Oob, but it's still Majub as a character, there's a special use for Super God Fist. If you use Super Dragon Fist, then immediately use Super God Fist, it will teleport, quite similar to how, I guess to some extent, Savage Strike would work. This only applies to this specific preset of this specific character. If you try and use it on Goku, or rather custom Goku, because I don't believe any other preset of Goku, as of right now at least, outside of custom, has Super God Fist and Super Dragon Fist on the same preset, it has to be custom, or even on a custom character, the Super God Fist part will not warp. This only applies to preset 2 of Majub, the Oob-inspired preset. The TP Medal Store used to only be open on the weekends. Yes, really. I believe it used to be open from every Friday to Monday, and then it was shut for the rest of the week. I promise I am being serious here. This isn't a meme or a joke. And it's something that I actually forgot about. Now, I believe it was it was one of the very early DLCs, DLC 1 or 2, I believe. They then changed it so it's now open 24/7 with certain items constantly rotating throughout the TP Medal store. You could also use to change your console's time to the weekends to trick it to opening, so it never really was truly shut. But yeah, I honestly can't believe... Why? Why would it think that was a good idea in the first place? Videl has a couple of interesting skills that she has the voices for, but she can't use. Those being the Pale Pole Super Attack, Volleyball, Fist, Dynamite, Kick, and Maiden Burst. Take a listen to those just mentioned.
Power pole, extend! Power pole! Here I go! Toss! Attack! Huh? Dynamite kick! Watch me work my magic! Honestly? Would you just give up?
伸びろよい棒いくわよトスアタックはあダイナマイトキック直伝の技を食らいなさいもういい加減観念なさい
Goku, with the exception of his Ultra Instinct forms, is somewhat designed to be a character that's easy to use but hard to master, and a character that you can just play Xenoverse 2 now without playing it before and do decently well with. Let's be honest, Dragon Ball is the Goku show, right? Like, it just is. So given that he's designed to be easy to use but hard to master, does make sense. For example, his square combo can easily be extended into a infinite combo, and his heavy is a fantastic knockdown, and on his Super Saiyan Blue presets, he has 7 bars of ki, meaning you can go for both ultimates back to back after a triangle, well, a heavy knockdown and stamina break, etc. Oh, and let's not forget about Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Did you know that the Lightning Impact Ultimate attack, the Majube Ultimate, once it's been activated and fired, the actual beam of the attack is, as of right now, the fastest beam in all of Xenoverse 2. As you can see right here, it is unbelievably quick. Now, the reason for this may be because one way you can use Lightning Impact is to repeatedly tap the input when you're using it to charge it up, and then to fire it to do significantly more damage than if you just use it uncharged. But as I've just said, it does take quite a long time to fully charge Lightning Impact to maximum damage. So that could be to balance it, because it takes a long time to actually charge, then the activation is extremely quick. No pun intended, it is lightning fast. You can actually start Xenoverse 2 through Dragon Ball The Breakers and vice versa, which is a bit weird, and I also believe you can purchase either game through the other game if you don't have either of them, which is a bit weird in a weird way. Weird, because that, and only about, just over a month before Breakers came out, which had this option available, they made it so, once again, Xenoverse 2 is free on PlayStation in certain PlayStation Plus categories or tiers if you have either PlayStation Plus Extra or PlayStation Plus Premium. It's almost as if them trying to give Xenoverse 2 one final push to get a bigger install base for maybe something that could happen in the near future. If you go into photo mode and have Wiz as one of the options that you can pick as a character, and have the command for him to use Super Attack 4, as you can see right here, he will just randomly fly up. Yeah, sure. Now, this is because at least preset 1 of Wiz only has 3 super attacks, so the 4th super attack is a completely empty slot, and for some reason, it makes the character fly up, and if you repeatedly tap the input quickly, he will constantly fly up until he goes to the invisible ceiling. I don't know why it does this. Xenoverse 2 is a very strange game in some regards, where if you don't have an attack on one of your supers, or possibly even an ultimate or evasive, and you make the character do it, they just fly up randomly. Yeah, Xenoverse 2 certainly is Xenoverse 2. Going from Xenoverse 1, the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, a couple of characters were removed, a couple of playable characters, those being Venus Mode, Xeno Trunks, Venus Mode, Vegeta, Villainous Mode, Ultimate Gohan, as well as Villainous Mode, Super Saiyan 3 Gold Tanks, as well as a few more. In the early days of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, if you used the Super Ki Explosion Ultimate Attack specifically on the Hyperbolic Time Chamber stage inside the Time Chamber, it used to hard crash the game. I don't know if this happened on Xbox or PC. It happened on a PS4 version. I may have covered it in a video from back then, but this was patched out a very, very, very long time ago. I think it was even patched out before they even announced Xenoverse 2 being released on the Switch version. But yeah, it just used to crash the game, which, I mean, it's not that interesting. Well, I think it's interesting because it's a piece of Xenoverse 2 history. I mean, you can see in this clip here, I tried to do it for the purposes of this video, but no, it was patched out a very long time ago. Mecha Frieza appears in the Xenoverse 2 intro, but as of right now, he's not anywhere else to be seen in the game outside of his quote-unquote outfit that you can wear for your characters. He's not a playable character, and apart from appearing in the intro cinematic, he doesn't appear anywhere else at all, as of right now, in the entire game. To get both the Super Mix Capsule and Super Mix Capsule Z mixing items, you need to do payload quests, but you need to do them by talking to the multiplayer modes AI computer, whatever you want to call him, in Canton City, right by the giant arch. If you go and do a normal payload quest from the payload quest robots, these will not even be something that you can get. Don't know if this is a glitch or bug or what have you, but you have to do a parallel quest tour to get both either and or the Super Mix Capsule, or better yet, the Super Mix Capsule Z. Again, you cannot get these just from doing a normal payload quest. You have to talk to the multiplayer modes Canton City resident. You can do something that's known as snap vanishing on certain characters and for your custom characters, depending on what awoken skill they have. You can do this on custom characters if you have either the Beast awoken skill or any of the Super Saiyan labeled transformations. So Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, Super Vegeta 1 and 2, Future Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and you guessed it, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. To do this, simply hold down the heavy input on PlayStation, this is triangle, and it will automatically snap vanish, as you can see right here. Doing this when your opponent, for example, is going for an ultimate or transformation or guarding, will instantly break their guard if you are able to land it. Majin Buu has a couple of skills which make sense for him to have, but for some reason he can't use them. Those being Quick Sleep, the Rolling Hercule Punch, Present for You, and Angry Shout. It's weird, or just interesting at least, why he can't use any of these, given that Majin Buu does have a custom preset.
Rolling Hercule Punch! Lucky! Here you go! Ah! Rolling Satan Punch! Sa, dozo!
For this next one, I'm fairly certain everyone knows what this is because of how much of a meme it became when it first came out during the release of Hero of Justice Pack 2 for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. But if you pick Gohan Beast against Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, Ultra Instinct Goku has a very interesting voice line. I don't know if this is a glitch. If it was, I would have imagined it would have been fixed by now, but the audio just sounds really strange. Again, I'm fairly certain you all know what this is, but just in case you don't, or if you want to hear it again, or if you want a refresher, take a listen.
Bring it on, Gohan. I'm going to surpass you, Dad.
You can get a completely neutral QQ bang if you mix together two of Yamcha's tops, the Yamcha Gi, with no mixing item. If you do this, I mean, there's no point in doing this because it's just for the novelty. Like, it's not going to help you. It could maybe make things more challenging, so you maybe play better, maybe, I don't know. But if you do this, it won't take you many attempts, but keep in mind that there are other QQ Bangs, like 1-star QQ Bangs you can get from this if you decide to use this. Just keep trying it. The outfit is very, very, very cheap to buy in the clothing store. If you do it, fair play. There's no real reason to, apart from novelty. And yeah, that's how you make a neutral QQ Bang. Speaking of QQ Bangs, however, back in the original Xenoverse game, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1, the basic Ki Blast animation used both arms, or rather both hands. But going from Xenoverse 1 into Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, as you can see, the basic Ki Blast animation just uses one hand. Now granted, if you go for the fully charged, I guess like the default sane charge Ki Blast in Xenoverse 2, it does technically use both hands, but it's not like the consecutive energy blast sort of animation like you can see in Xenoverse 1, which uses both left and right hands to shoot the Ki Blasts in turn. Which, side note, I think the animation from Xenoverse 1 for this is much, much better, and it just looks cooler than what it is as of right now in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Technically speaking, depending on the circumstance, you can have two of the same Frieza characters, or Frieza, in Canton City at the exact same time, as you can see right here via the online Frieza event. Depending on if Frieza spawns either his first form or turn golden or what have you, you can see he's right here. But then if you go to where Frieza is in Canton City at the Namekian area as a mentor, he's here as well. It's the same Frieza. Obviously, this is a bit of an oversight. It's just a little bit funny how they'll do this, but they will then temporarily lock the Frieza time miniature so you can't go and do the missions in Frieza's spaceship. But there's two Friezas here. If you go out on a time patrol in the time nest by interacting with the time rift right next to the partner customization robot, and then you click return to time nest, then restart the game, instead of then loading into Canton City directly, you'll then instead load directly into the time nest. Once you've defeated Raditz and can pick which character you want to appear as the Toki hero, including your Xenoverse 1 characters if you performed a data transfer at the very start of your Xenoverse 2 save file, some of these characters are actually the winners from, I believe, the last Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 World Tournament. The reward, I believe, I forget when they said it, but the reward was basically they will be added to a custom loading screen on PS4. I don't know about other consoles, which does look quite nice actually, and also to be part of the data transfer feature from Xenoverse 1 to Xenoverse 2, which in turn has immortalized them. Fair play. Both the gigantic blue statue of Shenron in Canton City, as well as the summonable Shenron in Canton City they can use to make various in-game wishes on, technically isn't Shenron, or at the very least, it's not the Earth version of Shenron, as this was created by the Supreme Kai of Time. If you pick this eye option here, and I believe there's another one at least as well, but then transform into a Super Saiyan 3 on your Saiyan CAC, your eyes will completely, in every way, shape and form, your eyes will completely change into what you would expect to see from a Super Saiyan 3. Ki Blast cancels are part of the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 PvP meta. A Ki Blast cancel is when you cancel the animation of what you're doing by shooting a basic Ki Blast and then instantly stepping out of the way. For example, if you are just going for a basic combination string on your opponent and then your opponent vanishes, instead of you either vanishing or stopping or going for a back hit, which can be perfect blocked or even countered with a skill such as reverse Mebiku Senko, you can instead fire a just one basic Ki Blast and then instantly step forwards, backwards, to the sides or what have you to then get into a safe position to then continue. If you're a Margin custom character, there will be more Margins at Majin Buu's house at the Majin Buu Time Rift. How many times did I say Majin Buu? feel free to count. There'll be more margins there if you're a margin character, as opposed to if you're a Saiyan character, an Earthling, a Freezer race, and a Namekian. Nappa, as a custom mentor, has the ability to turn Super Saiyan, but funnily enough, if you do turn Super Saiyan on custom Nappa, his toupee will disappear. It won't turn golden, it won't stay the same color, it'll just flat out disappear. But funnily enough, his toupee will return if you then revert back to Nappa's base form. QQ bangs did not exist in the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game. They were only introduced in Xenoverse 2 as a way for you to be able to properly customize the appearance of your character. So back in Xenoverse 1, the only way you could increase or decrease to some extent your stats or boost certain stats, for example, if you were a key or a strike-based player, would be the equipment you wore and boosting your attribute points. So you saw, back in Prime Xenoverse 1, you saw a lot of people wearing very, very, very similar outfits because, well, that's how you did it back in the original Xenoverse game. There is a glitch on Parallel Quest 41 where if you clear it fast enough, the androids, those being Android 17 and Android 18, won't actually appear and join your team to help you, but the dialogue will still continue. Once you defeat Vegeta and Piccolo, future Gohan will appear, and if you then can defeat him quick enough, the androids won't actually have enough time to load in or rather to join, and instead you'll go to the ultimate finish against future Trunks, and the android dialogue from Android 17 and 18 will continue regardless, even though it's glitched out because you've done it too quick, and they don't actually join your team as part of the "you've got new support incoming" pop-up that pops up. Going back now to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1, Krillin and Yamcha both have a preset in Xenoverse 1 which has Kaioken. Not times 3 or not times 20, I don't believe, just the normal Kaioken. And back in Xenoverse 1, bonus fact here, Kaioken was a super attack, not an awoken skill. This was taken out for Xenoverse 2, no idea why or why they didn't get Kaioken as a mentor preset. But yeah, back in Xenoverse 1, Krillin and Yamcha had Kaioken on one of their presets. Because sure, why not? Even though Tien didn't, so it's not as if it's from training with King Kai. It's very strange. In Majin Buu's house in the Majin Buu Time Rift in Canton City, there are several Majins that you can feed to give you certain items such as Super Souls, material items, healing items like capsules, and clothing. One of these Majins is named Ichigo. Now, this could be rather a reference to the Bleach series, the anime and the manga, but let me know in the comments because I have absolutely no idea. Perhaps is Ichigo a common Japanese name? I genuinely don't know. I've not watched the Bleach series, the anime or the manga. I don't really watch anime, to be honest. So if this is a common name in Japan, please let me know if it is or if it isn't. If you actually know, in the comments. There is a character in Canton City with this name right here. I don't know how you pronounce it, Zazomu? Whatever. But you may have noticed that this character has a name that is very, very similar to an official Dragon Ball character, that being Zamasu, and I believe this character is part of the Hero Coliseum. I'm only mentioning that because Zamasu was revealed in Dragon Ball Super in 2016, but the Hero Coliseum wasn't added until late 2017. So they knew of Zamasu, so why they left this in? I mean, it's a different character, but it's so eerily close to Zamasu. It's literally one letter off. You can get the Flying Nimbus vehicle by talking to this character flying in the sky in Canton City once you learn how to fly. Basically, as in when you defeat Final Form Frieza and Final Form Cooler in the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 story mode. Despite it being the Flying Nimbus, it doesn't fly. Going back to an earlier fact in this video, if you have all 7 Dragon Balls that make a brand new character or talk to this character here in Canton City after defeating Raditz, instead of getting another Dragon Ball, you'll get a Hercule badge. But again, that's only if you have all 7 Dragon Balls. Did you know that this loading screen right here in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is a direct reference and homage to an older Dragon Ball game, that older Dragon Ball game being Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. It's this right here of the various Sabermen, and also Xenoverse 2 and the Budokai series have the same developer, that being Dimps. So I think it's fairly obvious that this is a direct reference, a bit of a callback to an older Dragon Ball console game back on the PlayStation 2, and I guess the PS3 as well if you had the HD collection. But yeah, one of the many loading screen minigames in Budokai 3 was the faster you could hit the input, the more Sabermen that would appear. As a reference, it's this right here. If you have 99 of a certain item, as in you have maxed out a certain item and can't get any more, then you get that certain item either as a reward from a parallel quest, or a login bonus, or from picking it up in Canton City. Instead of getting an additional item, you will just get a certain amount of Zenny. There's actually a voice from Team 4-Star that you can actually have as the voice for your playable character, your CAC. Take a listen.
Stop! Believe it! Ha! Stop! Huh? Daddy! Yep.
Did you know that legendary Super Saiyan Broly will only activate his taunt if he is flying in the air, or rather, if he's stationary in the air? If he's on the ground, it will never ever activate. I don't know if this is a reference to something from, for example, the first Dragon Ball Z Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan movie. If it is, do let me know in the comments. And also, I'm sure there's other characters that will also activate their taunt if they're either flying, staying still in the air, or on the ground, or vice versa. I'm sure there's more, so if there are more, if I've missed any of them, do let me know in the comments of the video. Once you've cleared the very first mission by defeating Raditz, once you're then introduced to vehicles, there's actually a bit of an error here, because it says that you can use a vehicle in the Time Nest, but again, at least as of right now, you can't use any vehicle of any kind or use your CC mascot in the Time Nest. So it was either that it was originally planned so you could use your vehicle in the Time Nest, which I really hope it was, or that it gets changed because it's a bit of a trek in there, or they're meant to say, well, I don't know, it's not even they could say the time vault, so it's either a mistake, a typo, or it was scrapped. There is a mechanic in the game which is officially known as a just guard. This is when your timing is perfect and you get a block that looks something like this, although it's more commonly referred to as in the community as a perfect block rather than a just guard. Android 21 has what is probably the most unique charged ki blast in all of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which is this one right here. And the reason I say this is because, at least as of the upload, or rather the recording of this part right here and this video in general, there is no way to have this on your custom character, like how you can change it to like a paralyzed ki blast, a charge ki, or a barrage ki blast, rush ki blast, you know, what you want to call it, a heavy. There's no super slot to do that, and there's no way, again, as of right now, to change it to this, and there's no other character and no other preset, again, as of right now, that will have this on their character. Certain skills, if fully charged, and if you're in a Super Saiyan transformation, can teleport. These skills include Kamehameha, the ×10 Kamehameha, as well as the fully charged Big Bang Kamehameha, as well as Evil Explosion. By clicking left on the D-pad, at least on the PS4 and PS5 version of Xenoverse 2, you can go into Skeleton mode and you can actually see what skills, with the exception of the Awoken skill, your opponent has on their character, as well as what their power levels are. Tien has a superstar which is also available for your custom characters in Xenoverse 2, which completely nullifies damage from any Kamehameha skill. Although do keep in mind, this does not include the Breaker Energy Wave, which technically is also known as the Angry Kamehameha. Did you know that there's unique dialogue if you have Goku as your mentor, then you talk to him again, dressed in his full Whiz outfit, the Whiz symbol outfit, or it needs to be all 4 pieces. I did try it, and you have to have all 4 on. Now, I do know that there are quite a few more of these. I think there's unique dialogue if you wear Turles' outfit, I think, as well as Zamos' outfit. Let me know in the comments. I do want to go and I've not actually checked them, so I'll be experiencing them the first time. Do let me know in the comments what other custom dialogues there are from mentors if you wear a certain outfit. Even though Vegito is the strongest character in all of Dragon Ball Z before Dragon Ball made a return with the Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods movie. So, in essence, even though Vegito is the strongest character in all of Dragon Ball Z before the Beerus stuff happened, in Xenoverse 2, and I also believe in Xenoverse 1, he only has full power charge. He's the strongest character. Why does he have the second worst charge game in all of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2? Why? Custom Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta can use time skip. No, really, he has a time skip skill, the Flash Fist Crush, I believe the name of it is. This is more than likely a reference to Dragon Ball GT when Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta battled against Omega Shenron, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was able to land punches on him without even moving, or at least to us, right? It could be a reference to that. Either way, very cool detail, and it just feels great using a time skip skill on Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. There's a very subtle reference to the Dragon Ball Raging Blast series in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and I think also technically in Xenoverse 1 as well. You can hear this from completing the final Goku mentor mission. It's the mission where, if you complete it, you unlock the Super Kamehameha Ultimate Attack. Take a listen.
That's enough! I don't think I have anything else I can teach you. Nuts! You really are incredible! It was a raging blast fighting with you!
Preset 2 of Majub, which is an Ultra Pack 2 character in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, 3 lots of 2 there, rather nice, has energy charge, and it's a preset that resembles Oob from the end of Dragon Ball Z with the moveset and the clothing and all that good stuff. But did you know that his energy charge will charge slightly faster than the normal energy charge super, and if you double tap it when you use it, it'll charge even faster, making it somewhat, to some extent, a bit of a mix between energy charge, full power charge, and to some extent, burst charge. Despite what your custom character looks like, if you use any of these super ghost attacks, they will just look like either Gotenks or Boo, depending on which version you use, again, regardless of what your custom character's appearance is. Super Saiyan Rage Trunks is in the game as a character that actually moves around. This is in the Zamasu or the Goku Black Story Mode DLC, which I believe was DLC number 4, the DB Super Pack 4. And as you can see here, Super Saiyan Rage Future Trunks is a character, but for whatever reason, in Dims's Infinite Wisdom, I guess, or rather Bandai, I guess, they just didn't make him a playable character. Will this change in the future? Again, probably not, but we will have to just wait and see. The absolute best QQ Bang recipe as of right now in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is mixing the Bardock top, the Dragon Ball Z Bardock top, with the Beerus top and using a Super Mix Capsule Z as the mixing items. I believe this will get you access to any QQ Bang, even a bad one, but if you're going to use this, this is more likely going to give you an excellent 6-star QQ Bang, that is, well, there's no way to really say it. If you can get a good one, it's very overpowered and fantastic. Your stats can change depending on what body type and height you pick when you're making your character. On the screen right now, you can see a screenshot of a comment I found, which I personally found very useful. So pause to read this comment and to learn it and understand it and stuff like that, if you so wish. If you use the inputs that are on the screen right now to use this combo on Vados, while you're using Vados as a playable character, her basic combo will extend. I absolutely love this. It's very trolly, it's fun, it's great. However, I don't believe they actually tell you that you can actually do this. So whoever first discovered this, absolutely fair play. I do wonder if there's any other combos that can be extended or changed or what have you that they don't actually tell you about in Xenoverse 2. If there are, like the Vados one you can see right here, if there are, please do let me know in the comments of this video. Going back to Xenoverse 1, once again, if you used any of the Super Saiyan forms, and bonus fact I guess, they weren't Awokens in Xenoverse 1, they were Ultimate, so a Super Saiyan Ultimate attack, which is weird saying that, but regardless, if you used any of the Super Saiyan forms in Xenoverse 1, you would have unlimited ki, and when you went for Supers and Ultimates, it wouldn't drain your ki. Well, rather, when you're in these forms, your ki will constantly drain unless you were to use a charge skill or a specific Super Soul, etc., but you wouldn't lose ki specifically for going for a super or an ultimate attack. The way you unlock Super Saiyan 4 Goku in the original Xenoverse game, so in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1, is a bit strange and awkward and just weird in general compared to how you unlock literally any other character. To unlock Super Saiyan 4 Goku in Xenoverse 1, you have to clear all of the parallel quests excluding the DLC parallel quests, and then you get Super Saiyan 4 Goku as a playable character. I have no idea why they did this. Like, why not make it Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta instead? Sure, why not? If you're in any of the Super Saiyan Awoken skills on your CAC, your custom character, your avatar, whatever you want to call it, you can hold down the heavy input on PS4, PS5. This is the triangle button. If you hold it down fully, you will snap vanish. A snap vanish is when you do what I previously just said, and you can teleport with a heavy attack, a fully charged heavy attack. And if your opponent is either guarding, going for an ultimate attack, or using fighting pose F, this will break their guard. If you and your opponent have perfect timing, you can, in theory, play Ki Blast Ping Pong for infinitely, or rather till the time runs out. Yeah, seriously, if you've got perfect timing, you can just do it over and over again. So here's a bit of a challenge. Feel free to get one of your friends and try to record yourselves doing it for about 10 minutes non-stop. Don't mess it up, or rather, if you do mess it up, you have to restart it. 10 minutes from start to end. If anyone actually does do that and upload it, I will be genuinely impressed. The further you progress through the Hero Coliseum, the more vibrant Conton City will become. The further you get in terms of completing the story mode mission in the Hero Coliseum, as well as the free mode missions, more characters related to the Hero Coliseum will appear all over Conton City for you to challenge to a Hero Coliseum match and stuff like that. Meaning that if you're willing to put the time in to, to complete all of the Hero Coliseum, you're going to be rewarded by Conton City just feeling a bit more alive. Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, this is the version from Dragon Ball Z, has voice lines for 2 ultimate attacks, which would be really cool if he had them, but he just doesn't have them, and that's a shame because he has a custom preset and even a festival preset. Those 2 ultimates being the Dragon Fist ultimate, weirdly enough, and then Final Flash.
Dragon Fist! Final Flash! Ryuken! Final Flash!
Support for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was only originally planned for a year after its release. Now keep in mind, by support, it doesn't necessarily mean DLC, it means DLC and the online events and patches and stuff like that. But because of the overwhelming success and to some extent the surprising success of Xenoverse 2, DLC, as well as support in both paid and free updates and patches and stuff like that, has been going on for several years since its release. You can instantly revive a fallen teammate by using something that's known as a flash revive. Do keep in mind though that although this will instantly revive them, it does take away a pretty decent amount of your health. Back in Xenoverse 1, you couldn't see your opponent's ki or stamina like how you could see it, or how you can see it in Xenoverse 2. And side note, a bit of history here, I distinctly remember when this was in like the trailers and the promotion, you know, leading up to Xenoverse 2 being released, the quote-unquote competitive Xenoverse 1 players, whatever that means, I don't know, I remember a lot of them at the time really complaining about this. It's just so weird. When you go and select to make a character, if you then back out of the selection, you may experience a unique animation, a sort of like foot stomp animation, which is nowhere else to be seen in the entire game. As of right now, Semi-Perfect Cell is the only character, excluding giant characters and DLC characters or DLC based characters such as Super Saiyan Rage, Future Trunks, that is not a playable character despite actually being fully in the game from the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Dragon Ball The Breakers crossover event. Because sure, why not? What a missed opportunity. During the fly through time countdown, Bandai Namco had revealed that there's a hint on this project page. Now, although I don't believe they ever came out and said what this hint was, I was actually, I think, the first person to find out that the hint was if you were to connect the 7 Dragon Balls and kind of play like a connect the dots with it, it would spell out XV, which was an obvious hint towards Xenoverse, and ultimately, because of that, well, at the time, it would have been Xenoverse 2, which, once again, would have been revealed once the timer hit 0. They updated the photo mode in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 to remove some, it may even be all, I'm not entirely sure, but to remove some female characters entirely to make them disappear if you zoom in on them too much. Now, I can only imagine the reason why they did this, and if you're someone who was weird enough to do this and it's now ruined it for the rest of us, honestly, all I have to say is shame on you. Vegito is playable in both Dragon Ball Xenoverse games, Xenoverse 1 and Xenoverse 2, but he does not appear in the main story modes. Yes, in Xenoverse 2, he appears as Super Saiyan Blue Vegito in a DLC story mode mission, and also in the Tokopedia, but in terms of the main, I guess, like base game, he does not appear as any character, well, he doesn't appear in the story mode for either games, despite being a playable character. Although, as of right now, it's not used in the game, Goku Black does actually have a voice file of him saying, and presumably using, Kaioken. Same thing for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and characters such as Brody as well also have voice lines of them using or saying Final Flash, and as well as Raccoon using Dancing Para, or rather a Dancing Para inspired voice line. If you equip any of the Crystal Raid skills and then go into photo mode, your character will have the Villainous Mode aura, although unfortunately this doesn't work online in a normal 1 versus 1. The DLC vehicle, the Space Pod vehicle, is the only vehicle in Xenoverse 2 right now that if you fall off of the city and once you're teleported back, it will have a different sound effect. Take a listen. There is a glitch in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 where if you use Burst Charge on Ultra Super Villain Super Saiyan God Vegeta from the Future Saga Chapter 1 DLC update, a voice line of Restrained Broly will play instead of the voice line from Vegeta. Take a listen. Despite beam clashes or beam struggles, whatever you want to call them, not currently in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, depending on which two attacks hit each other, you'll get effects that look like this. There is a somewhat, but not really, secret preset of Beerus, kind of, but again, not really, and that's preset 2, which at first glance you may not notice there's anything different, but if you look at Beerus's head, he's actually got the Wiz symbol on his head. Play the Xenoverse 2 story mode and you'll understand why. But this is something that I didn't realize until much later on in Xenoverse 2's life cycle. The rock, paper, scissors super attack is different depending on which input you select. There's 3 in total. Naturally, those are rock, paper, and, you guessed it, scissors. There's special dialogue, or maybe more accurately, glitched dialogue, if you pick Super Saiyan God Goku versus Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Super Saiyan God Goku sounds like Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It's very weird. So with that said, do take a listen.
How about it, Kakarot? Now can you fight without holding anything back? You're amazing, Vegeta. Now let's fight.
Final form mirror heavily resembles Super Saiyan 5 from the fan-made Dragon Ball AF manga. And the more I look at it, the more I think, yeah, the resemblance is rather uncanny. In terms of just damage, Final Explosion will deal out the most damage out of any ultimate attack against a raid boss and give you more points. Now, certain raid bosses will you just won't be able to use Final Explosion against them, right? So with that said, a second ultimate that you should be using in raids is Emperor's Death Beam. You cannot at all go wrong with the Emperor's Death Beam ultimate attack. 24 hours before Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was revealed, on the 16th of May 2016, there was a teaser revealed, the Fly Through Time project or teaser or whatever you want to call it. This had a 24-hour countdown timer, and once the countdown timer hit 0, they then officially revealed Xenoverse 2 with the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 reveal trailer. Certain attacks can go through super armor, for example, the basic grab, as well as skills such as Super God Fist, Savage Strike, as well as Gigantic Rage. The Time Nest in Xenoverse 2 uses different shaders compared to the rest of Conton City. Although this isn't confirmed, the reason for this is more than likely, well, probably because the Time Nest could have been copy and pasted from Xenoverse 1 directly into Xenoverse 2, and at least as of right now, they've not updated the shader from the Time Nest compared to the rest of Conton City. You can increase the damage of dual ultimate attacks if you increase this bar on the left of the mental icons, this little like blue, green, turquoisey color mental bar, the higher it goes. Back in Xenoverse 1, you could actually destroy parts of the mountain stage, but for whatever reason, in Xenoverse 2, they made it so you couldn't do it, even if you go to the exact same position on the exact same parallel quest. Why this was removed is beyond me, because it was such a cool feature and you need to do it in Xenoverse 1 to get one of the Dragon Balls for one of the Dragon Ball parallel quests. If you go all the way to the ceiling when you're battling against a great ape, for example, in the at the end of the Saiyan Saga story mode, they won't be able to hit you at all. Stamina breaks don't work in every situation, and what I mean by this is, one example is Ice Cannon. If you use Ice Cannon successfully and freeze your opponent, if you then go next to them and go and try to use either a light or a heavy stamina break, although it will connect, it's not going to break your opponent's stamina, but it will still do a bit of damage and knock them flying back out of the ice. The stylist in Conton City, to some extent, resembles Peter Griffin from the Family Guy series. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but it's like the same hair color, the same sort of clothing, the same colors of the clothing. Someone pointed this out in the previous video in this series, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. It kind of resembles Peter Griffin. Sure. There is a unintentionally funny voiceover line in Xenoverse 1 and technically in the Legend Patrol for Xenoverse 2 involving Eric Vale, which I don't think this should have been included or it wasn't meant to be included. Take a listen.
We don't have much time left. Could you stop those two?
Guys,
you can recover stamina at a much faster rate if you're on a solid surface rather than if you were flying. Keep in mind, invisible grounds do not count. And speaking of skelters, your skelter perspective will change color depending on what color of skelter you're wearing, even including the golden skelter. If a character goes for the Dragon Pharaoh grab, which is the grab characters such as Goku, Adult Gohan, Bardock, I believe, as well as several other characters used, it's a very standard grab. If you stand next to the character being swung around, it will actually hit you even if it's a teammate or an enemy on your opponent's team, and it will knock you back and do a tiny bit of damage on you. You can actually throw Dragon Balls. If you go to a Pelo quest where you have to go and collect the Dragon Balls and send them back to the time machine to complete that Pelo quest, if you have either one Dragon Ball or if you're holding two Dragon Balls and then go for the grab input, you will throw them. There's a different animation depending on if you have one Dragon Ball or two Dragon Balls, and you can technically throw them at your opponents. You can use the Hyper Movement Evasive to freeze the basic combination string that you're doing and to, well, move at a hyper speed, whatever, behind your opponent. It's a cool effect. It's not really efficient, but if you've got stamina spare and you're going to win or you just want to flex, I guess, then this does look so cool, as you can see right here. Did you know that back in the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1, for some strange reason, while you're flying and you're in the air, for some reason, you can jump. Now, there's a good chance this was maybe a glitch or a bug, or at least at the bare minimum, some sort of oversight, because this was removed even going to like the first closed beta test for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. There are quite a lot of unused voice lines in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. One of these is of Vegito turning Super Saiyan 2. Take a listen.
Guess I'm Super Vegito 2 now!
スーパーベジート2ってとこか。
Guess I'm Super Vegito 2 now!
スーパーベジート2ってとこか。
For whatever reason, Shining Slash and Burning Slash are only available to Saiyans and Earthlings. Don't know why, there's no sort of restrictions because it's just an animation, if that makes sense. Although there are other hybrid Saiyan skills that are available to anyone. For example, Burst Rush, for example, Besenko, for example, Heat Dome Attack. Depending on the situation and the stage, the Spirit Bomb Super Attack will rebound, but it will go through solid matter. This must be a glitch, but if you launch the Spirit Bomb Super Attack and your opponent moves out of the way of it, it can go through, I believe it works on the World Tournament stage, it'll go through the stands and then come back and possibly hit your opponent. Janemba, as well as Fu, as well as technically Villainous Mode Janemba, as well as Custom Janemba, all have unique vanishes as opposed to the traditional teleport vanish. Legendary Super Saiyan Broly is the only character that can appear in Conton City with an actual aura. Once you talk to him and he can become your mentor, when you go and talk to him then in Conton City, he doesn't have an aura. It's only when you first approach him in Conton City that he has a rather menacing green aura. Oh, there's a few animations from Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 that were reused in Dragon Ball Legends. One of these being the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Awoken skill animation in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which is essentially the same as what they used for the Ultimate Gohan transformation animation in Dragon Ball Legends. Supreme Kai of Time has a unique animation when she uses the maximum charge super attack. I don't believe there's anything different from this version of maximum charge, but it's Supreme Kai of Time as of right now is the only character in Xenoverse 2 with a different animation for just the normal maximum charge. There's special dialogue in quotations, between a Saberman and a Cell Jr., despite them never meeting, at least as of right now, in the series. Take a listen to the special dialogue. Now, although wearing sunglasses on an outfit, an accessory, or what have you, won't protect you from skills such as Solar Flare, if you use this Super Soul here, you will be able to protect yourself and your allies from blinding skills such as the Solar Flare, even if you're not wearing sunglasses, because sure, why not? Vegito has 3 presets, with preset 2 representing Goku with skills such as the Kamehameha and Super Dragon Fist, and preset 3 representing Vegeta with skills such as Final Flash, and naturally preset 1 is the true Vegito preset. The first ever online raid event in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was in I believe the first closed beta for Xenoverse 2 against Majin Vegeta, before they changed his name in Xenoverse 2 from Majin Vegeta to Prince of Destruction Vegeta. When you join any online lobby, whether it be a play match, an endless battle, an online parallel quest, a raid, or any of the other number of online lobbies, your connection will always appear as a 5-bar connection from your perspective, even if you have a bad connection. Kefla has 2 different grabs. These can be activated automatically if you're standing on the ground or if you're flying. Base form Teen Gohan is actually in both Xenoverse 1 and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 in the story mode as part of a cutscene when you defeat Cell at the end of the Cell Saga. Although, as of right now, even though the model is there, he is not a playable character. By using an additional input on Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta's Super Kamehameha, you can absorb it to get an attack increase. Custom Goku can use Divine Lasso, one of the signature skills for Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Dispo, especially in his Awoken skill, is currently the fastest character in all of Dragon Ball Xenoverse, including Xenoverse 1 and Xenoverse 2. I mean, just look at him right here. He's absolutely insanely fast. Oh, yes. The times 100 Big Bang Kamehameha ultimate attack has a sort of secret second function, and that is, if you use it locked off, it will rotate, making it quite a surprise if your opponent doesn't know they can do that, and or if they are just not anticipating it. If your timing is perfect when you play as Super Saiyan God Vegeta, you will do increased damage and you'll get a different sound effect. You can use the R3 input, and I'd assume it will just be whatever the right analog stick is on other consoles, but on PS4, PS5 and PC, I believe, if you click R3 on your controller, you can actually use the Dragon Radar to get a better perspective of where the Dragon Balls are. The Kaioken Awoken skills are known for draining your stamina, but if you have the Super Saiyan Blue Goku Super Soul equipped and you just go into the normal Kaioken, so I guess Kaioken times 1, you will actually slightly regenerate stamina rather than losing it. You can use the Tri-Beam Super Attack even if you're holding one of the Dragon Balls from the few Dragon Ball collection missions, and naturally as well, you can also fully charge it like how you would be able to just using the Tri-Beam super attack normally. If you limit burst while having any sort of power-up activated, such as Divinity Unleashed, such as any of the fighting poses, etc., once the limit burst has run out, it will remove all prior power-ups, so just be careful. If you talk to this robot here, you can get information on past updates that were added to Xenoverse 2. Even if both you and your opponent have not limit burst, if you use body change, you then won't be able to limit burst anyway. It will be as if you've already used it, even if you didn't use it before the body change hits. The Vanisher Guard Evasive was renamed to Punisher Guard. Yeah, sure. It was such a random thing that they changed. I still don't know why they bothered with that, in all fairness, but yeah, Vanisher Guard was renamed to Punisher Guard. For some reason, you can't change the name of your custom character, your avatar, your CAC, again, whatever you want to call it, when you use the Dragon Balls to summon Shenron, even though you can change pretty much, essentially, everything else. By using this Super Soul right here, you can change your basic Ki Blast into a heart, like what Rubrian uses in Xenoverse 2 and in Dragon Ball Super. This is also a Super Soul that you can get from a raid. With the exception of Ultra Instinct Goku, the only other character in Xenoverse 2 that has auto dodge is, unsurprisingly enough, Whis. But that's only in Parallel Quest 131. Much like in previous Dragon Ball games, Hercule has a jetpack so he can actually fly. If you ever notice white mist around any character, either that being your custom character, your CAC, your avatar, or an original character, that white mist means that there is currently a Super Soul taking effect. When you get max Ki, your aura will flare up, which looks particularly cool if you are in, for example, the Super Saiyan Blue Awoken skill and you keep getting max Ki over and over and over again. Using Hellstein Shock on Captain Ginyu will actually damage his battle armor, as you can see right here, and unfortunately this does not work if you use it on your custom character. Artwork number 1 is a reference to the iconic Goku versus Frieza pose in Dragon Ball Z, only in Xenoverse 2, played out by Supreme Kai of Time and Zeno Trunks. Hit is technically the best character in all of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. There's a few reasons for this, but the main reason is just how fast and efficient he is at Ki cancelling. The Crush Cannon super attack can actually one-shot your opponent if it's fully charged, and also you can pause the charging of this attack by clicking the guard button. There are a few ultimate attacks in Xenoverse 2 which can actually be used as a back hit ultimate attack. These include skills such as Soul Punisher, Crush Cannon, and Power Rush. The perfect Kamehameha ultimate attack cannot be blocked or perfect blocked, even if you have a perfect block, or rather just guard limit burst, so just be careful. If you have a bold, sane custom character, avatar, CAC, whatever you want to call it, and then use Super Saiyan 3, you will get a full head of hair. Because, yeah, Ultra Instinct Sign Goku was added several years before he was a playable character. He was first added as part of a cutscene as part of the Tokopedia mode. For probably obvious reasons, body change can't be used in certain modes, such as the story mode, raids, expert missions, and parallel quests. You can actually increase the hits on the Super Mad Dance super attack from just 3 hits to 5 hits if you use it while in any of the Super Saiyan Awoken skills. If you get over 99 hits in a single combo, instead of saying 100 and then 101 and then going forward from there, it will just say a Z combo. If you wear the Rosy outfit on your Freeze Race character and then use the Turn Golden Awoken skill, it will glitch out and make the Rosy outfit completely black. If you throw the Dragon Balls so they are close to each other, and I believe you have to make them so they're very close to each other, they will slightly glow like how they do when they are close to each other in the series. Much like with Super Saiyan Kefla, First Form Cell also has two different grabs. One of them is if you're in the air, and the other one is if you're on the ground. You can get a guaranteed successful grab if you immediately go for the grab after getting a successful perfect block, also known as a Just Guard. Full Power Super Saiyan Broly from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, his super attacks can be used if you have enough stamina and ki while you're being attacked. You can, however, perfect block just normal basic ki blasts, although the timing is exceptionally tricky. If you can do it, fair play. If you have Super Mix Capsules and spare Demon Realm Crystals, you can mix them both together to get one Super Mix Capsule Z. With the exception of the Turn Golden Awoken skill, there are no other exclusive skills available for the Freezer race. Apart from being able to throw the Dragon Balls if you have them, you can also limit burst if you're holding them, either if you're holding one of them or if you're holding two. By using this Super Soul, which is a raid reward, you can change your basic Ki Blast to a stone. Yeah. If you're lucky, you can pick up a Turtle Hermit Shell accessory by picking up one of the items at the resort area in Canton City. There is a voice actor in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and his name is Ryan Reynolds. No, not that one. Despite the name of the evasive being Instant Rise, you can use Instant Rise to go both up as well as to go down. And the official name of the default Xenoverse 1 hero, the Future Warrior summoned by Shenron, his name, the official name, is Ace. If you summon one of the Xeno CC mascots and then use the Kamehameha pose, it will mimic you. And I never knew this, so fair play. The Icarus CC mascot will copy you if you use the Elder Kai emote, as you can see right here. Super God Fist will connect if you use it immediately after sending your opponent back with a knockback. Wearing an accessory which has sunglasses doesn't actually protect you from blinding skills such as Solar Flare. The official name for the Xenoverse 2 default hero is Mii, spelled M-E. Buhan has the longest grab in the game. You can make custom Jiren look like El Hermano Lamao. Full Power Jiren's grab will drain your opponent's stamina.
Please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe.